Code Enforcement hearing agenda for April 6, 2022. My name is Keith Davis. I'm the special magistrate appointed by the city to preside over today's hearing. Please silence any cell phones that you may have so they don't interrupt our proceedings. That will be appreciated. If you're going to be speaking to me today about any of the items on our agenda, your testimony needs to be sworn, so I need to place you under oath. I can place everyone under oath together. If you'll please stand if you're able and raise your right hands, I will swear all of you in. Each of you swear or affirm under penalties of perjury that your testimony today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Thank you very much. You can have a seat. For you folks who are present for a case, when your case is called, please come up to the podium to my right. The way we will proceed is that I will hear from the city first. The city's code enforcement officer or other witnesses will testify about the case, give me information about the alleged violation. There may be documents or photographs that are in the city's record, which will appear on the monitors. You'll have an opportunity to see those. Once the city has concluded its presentation and made any recommendations for how to resolve the matter, then I will come back over to you. You'll then have an opportunity to tell me everything you feel is relevant about the case. If you have additional photographs or other documents that you want me to consider, that will be the time to produce those. Once I've heard everything from both the city and respondent, I will, in all likelihood, enter an order today that resolves the matter in some form or fashion. So that is how we will proceed. I know we have a sign-in sheet, and we'll take the cases for the folks who signed in. We may have a few cases with city staff also that we have to take first, so that they can be they can get their testimony in and be excused from the hearing. So with that explanation, let's go ahead and begin.
First case number 40-447 27th Street, CE 22020293, number 40-447 27th Street.
Good morning. City of West Palm Beach Code Compliance Officer Paul McFarland. On February 19th, the property at 447 27th Street was cited for safe egress, clean and sanitary. Landscape areas must be sod. Landscaping of swale must be sod. On February 21st, the property as well as City Hall was posted. Certified mail was sent out February 24th, as well as regular mail. Certified mail was returned March 3rd. However, I have been in contact with the property owner. As of Tuesday, the property has come into compliance with the safe egress and the clean and sanitary. Only violations still remain are sodding of landscape and sodding of swale. City's recommending 30 days to bring the property into compliance, or $50 a day until compliance is achieved.
Officer McFarland, could you please describe your observations of the landscaping and swale?
As you can see depicted in the photographs, the landscape is basically sand. It's starting to approach onto the sidewalk, which is going to become which is a hazard. So it needs to be rectified as soon as possible.
Officer McFarland, was an affidavit of posting prepared?
Yes, it is. It's also attached to the case.
Thank you. Special Magistrate, the city would like to submit as evidence a copy of the notice of violation, certified mailing documentation, affidavit of posting, and photographs.
Thank you. Those are all part of the record. Is there anything else from the city at this time?
That's it, sir.
Thank you. Yes, sir. Why don't you tell me your name and address, then you can tell me about the case.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity to come before the chamber here. My name is Byron DeGraffenried. I'm at 4472 27th Street. I'm new to the area. I used to live in Coral Springs. And we closed on our house January 12th of 2022. We moved in on January 21st of 22. The previous owner has been there 2.5 years. I've been in pursuit of the property for 2.5 years. So I'm new to West Palm, and Paul is correct with all the findings. The one thing I will tell you, since I've been in the house, it needed a lot of reconstruction. So on 125, I had the siding repaired, and I have pictures of that, which is not part of his violation. The property did not have the correct lights inside, so that was replaced on 210. The other thing is that, which I was telling Paul, the main reason, sir, in the chamber that I have not replaced the sod has to deal with the issue of when I bought the property, it has the old fuse boxes in there. So in order to get the sod and the sprinkler system working, I didn't want to put sod and not have the system to grass the sod. So I've had to get a licensed electrician, which I have the statement for that. We've also submitted the permits. We also have to get FP&L to do a connect and reconnect. So that's why I explained to him, it's not the issue I don't want to do the sod, it's the issues that I don't want to, I got to do the electrical first, then get the sprinkler system along with the sod. And I do have an estimate for that, that's $2,800. And then the electrician was $15,460. And so that should be done. So I was telling him, I don't know because I've never had to deal with this before in terms of permit, but I have the estimate. I've already had a down payment on that. I just need time to get the electrical piece done. And then I was telling Paul, one of the big issues is that we're in Northwood. We used to live in a gated community, so there's a lot of influx of people. We did have someone jump the fence on 226 of 22. Officer was called out. My wife was kind of startled by the whole thing because we had someone jump a 4-foot fence and they were in that courtyard area. So we called the police. I do have the estimate for the fence. So my main priority is to get the electrical first done, get the fence done, which is $16,876, and then get the sod along with the sprinkler system done. Now I do have all the pictures and everything else. Now in good faith, the shutters and everything else were shelded, and 2 of them were welded. So in good faith, I wanted to make sure I could at least do that. It has nothing to do with the electrical system on the sod itself. So I went and done that, as Paul has stated. We have talked. I explained to him I've only been in the house a month, and I'm having to deal with electrical, people jumping fence, and then the need to get the electrical done. Then I could get the sprinkler system done along with the sod. And that's kind of where we're at.
Did you say permits had been applied for the electrical work?
Yes, sir.
All right. So you have an electrician hired and they've applied for permits.
Yes, sir.
The city's recommending a 30-day time frame to get the sod done. I'm happy to give you more time than that. I mean, it sounds to me like you're doing what you need to do to get through this process. How much do you have any sense?
No, I would like, Keith, I mean, I don't mind coming back, but I'm in the mercy of a permit, and then where the Johnson boxes are, they're going to have to be relocated, so FP&L are going to have to come out and do a connect and then reconnect. I don't know, it could be 60 days, it could be 90 days, I don't know. I will get it done. I just let you know the main piece of the sod is not because of me not wanting to do the sod, it's because I don't have the electrical hookup. So I would like to request the 90 days. I know I could get it done way before then, but
I have no problem giving you 90 days.
Yeah.
I will do that. I don't want to keep coming back and forth, and it's very clear to me that you are proceeding in good faith here, so I'm happy to give you 90 days.
thank you.
I will accept the city's recommendation on the $50 a day, though, if the 90 days doesn't happen.
Yeah, that won't happen. I'll make sure of that, Keith.
All right, then,
I appreciate that. It's new. I love the area. Just moved here from Coral Springs. Like I said, I think it's been a dream of mine to be here in West Palm.
welcome.
I will tell you, I've never been in a a hearing such as this before. It's new to me, and I am a working person. I work for Hershey Chocolate. So I just want to let you know I'm very honest about what I am and what I'm going to do. So if I get the 90 days, I can assure you, as soon as that's done, I will call Mr. Paul and let him know it's done, and then he can take his pictures and then proceed on.
All right. So I do find proper notice in this case. Based on the testimony and the evidence, I do find the property remains in violation of City Code Section 94-442C1 and E, but is in compliance with the other code sections that were originally cited in the notice. I'm going to allow 90 days for compliance with the landscaping violations. After that, daily fines of $50 per day will be assessed until compliance is achieved. I have to ask, you have a unique name. Were you related to Andy?
No, I know of Andy as well as Carol. Believe it or not, DeGraffrid's not a common name. And
No,
believe
it's
it or
not.
not, I used to live in Coral Springs, and we've talked on the phone, but I've
see.
not met her in
Yeah, I worked with him
person.
from time to time. He was a good guy.
Yeah,
So.
good.
All right. Well, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you for your time. I appreciate the extension, Keith. Thank you so
Yes,
much.
of course.
Okay, thank you.
Here's a copy of your order. It's case number 16-3108 Greenwood Avenue, CE 21110145, number 16-3108 Greenwood Avenue.
Good morning. Jay Francis, West Palm Beach Code Compliance. 3108 Greenwood Avenue was cited on 11/9/21. Certified mail was sent on 11/9/21. Both the property and City Hall were posted on 11/16/21. An affidavit of posting was completed. This property was cited for safe egress, clean and sanitary, excessive growth, paint, landscape maintenance, lighting standards, garbage can placement, hurricane hazard, and Swayland Parkway. I have been in contact with the property owner. As of this morning, the property has not come into compliance with all violations except clean and sanitary, garbage can placement, Swayland Parkway, and landscape maintenance. Therefore, the city is asking for an additional 90 days for them to come in compliance. If they do not come into compliance, then the city is asking for $50 a day until compliance is achieved.
All right. I was trying to keep up, but
Sorry.
again, the code sections that have complied.
Clean and sanitary,
18106A, okay.
excessive growth,
18106B, okay.
garbage can placement,
7434A1J.
and Swayland Parkway. Maintenance of the Swayland Parkway.
94442E.
Yes.
Thank you.
Officer Francis, in conjunction with the photographs that are in the file, could you please describe the observations that are still existing for still existing violations?
Well, the picture shows certain areas of the house that needs painting. For the safe egress, the house is boarded up and some parts, I'm sorry. Same with lighting standards. And there's a few places on the property where the trees are overgrown in the fence area. I don't know if you could go back. Which is a hurricane hazard in that area right there.
Thank
Anything
you.
else from the city?
Welcome.
Special Magistrate, the city would like to submit as evidence a copy of the notice of violation, affidavit of posting, certified mail documents, and photographs.
Those are part of the record, and that is granted. Anything else at this time?
No.
All right. Good morning, folks. Sir, why don't you tell me your name and address, and then you can tell me about the case.
Charles Gathigan, 14767 96 Lane North. The
Yes,
house on Greenwood Avenue was my sister's house. She passed away, no will. We were here the last time, and we were hoping to have the probate done by now. We do have a case number, but the attorney filed some of the paperwork wrong. The judge kicked it back to him. He has to get some other paperwork signed, and one of the nephews that got stuck involved in this case is now strung out on drugs and nobody can find him to get the signature.
Okay.
So the attorney said he would try to get with the judge and file a paper where they can process this without his signature and then find him later on to get the signature. So truthfully, I can't do anything to the house because it's not our house.
You said you were at a previous hearing. I'm trying to remember. Did I hear this the first
Yes.
time, or was this Mr. Wagner's?
Oh, that I can't remember, sir. I don't
don't
know
remember
if,
either.
You did.
It was in January, I think.
Okay. And what, we continued it to this month to let the probate case unfold?
Right.
were hoping it would be
So you're basically still in the same situation. It's still in the court system, and you're not able to do anything.
I do go over and make sure the grass is cut and clean the yard and stuff like that, and try to. I don't want to paint it and everything else like that because the house is in such bad condition inside that I have several people that want to buy it that are going to tear it down and build a new house. But I can't sell the house or do anything to it until the process goes through probate.
Do you have any sense in if the probate case in the next 3 months will be?
I'm hoping it will be.
And I don't want to keep making you come back here every
I
month.
understand that.
don't wanna do
I don't
that.
mind coming back to, give you an update on what's going on, but I'm hoping that he'll process this without the signature if we can't get the signature within the next week or so.
All right. What I'm inclined to do is give you a compliance deadline that's out there a few months, and the city recommended 90 days. I'm thinking 120,
That's fine.
which is 4 months, which gets you to July, to get it through the system and then get it into compliance or sold or whatever you're going to do.
Exactly.
But, that way you don't have to keep coming back.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And that, that puts some finality on the case from the city's perspective as well. Do you have anything else you'd like to tell me at this point? It sounds like we're kind of status quo from where we were the
Yeah,
last time.
pretty much, we are, but
All right. Well, if you don't have anything else, is there anything else from the city?
No, I'm good.
All right, so I am going to find proper notice in this case. Based on the testimony and the evidence, I find that the property remains in violation of City Code Sections 18100 regarding safe egress, 18106G regarding paint, 18106K regarding landscape maintenance, 1895B regarding lighting standards, 744C1 regarding trees that constitute a hurricane hazard, and 94, so for the fence, it has a notation, do not use, so is that an expired code
Office-
section?
Officer Francis, is that particular one withdrawn?
Yeah, you could remove that one.
I'm so,
Yes. Pardon? You didn't hear what you said.
I can't hear you.
I didn't hear what you said. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is the fence alleged violation, is that withdrawn?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so that's withdrawn. So 943024 is withdrawn, and the other code sections are complied. I'm going to allow 120 days for compliance in this case. After that, daily fines of $50 per day will be assessed until compliance is achieved. So, let me tell you this, if you're getting close to that 120 days and it's still balled up in the probate system, please reach out to the city, ask for an opportunity to come back and ask for additional time, and I'll be happy to consider that request at that time and hear what's been going on. We'll hope, though, that the 120 is enough to get you through the process.
we hope. Thank you
All
very
right.
much, sir.
Thank you.
Okay.
Number 34, 909 38th Street, CE 22030170. Number 34, 909 38th Street.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Cassandra St. Hilaire, Code Enforcement Officer Cassandra St. Hilaire, on behalf of Code Officer Natalie Clark. This property was cited on March 9, 2022. Property was cited for 18106A, 7434A1H, and 94442E. Certified mail was sent on March 10th. The property and City Hall were posted March 11th. At this time, the city is recommending 15 days, $100 a day until compliance is achieved.
15 or what?
100?
Or 100?
Yep.
Okay.
Officer St. Hilaire, could you please describe what we're seeing in the photographs which evidence the violations?
Yeah, I did want to, I forgot to add in here that code sections 94-442E was complied. In the photographs, you'll see numerous trash and debris that's, I guess, out for either pickup or, I'm not sure. I think after speaking with the gentleman who is present today, he did let me know that he is in the process of evicting, or he did evict the tenants, and the trash out there, it's, he's waiting for it to get picked up, but that's what you'll see in the photograph.
Thank you. Officer St. Hilaire, do you find that there is an affidavit of posting completed in the file?
Yes,
Thank you. Special Magistrate, the city would like to submit as evidence a copy of the notice of violation, certified mailing documents, photographs, and affidavit of posting.
All right, those are, as granted, those are made part of the record. Is there anything else from the city at this time?
that is
All right.
all.
Yes, sir. Why don't you tell me your name and address, then you can tell me about the case.
Yes, sir. My name is Dennis Weiss. My address is 3590 South Ocean Boulevard, apartment 110, South Palm Beach. And while I realize that I'm responsible for the property as I am the property owner, some of the cause of the issues was due to a renter who did not keep the property in good shape. She repeatedly had trash on the property, and I repeatedly asked her to move the trash, and I finally did have to evict her with her last day at the property being March the 31st. I was there on April 1st and moved the trash. Well, prior to that, I sodded the property, and the pictures will show that the property was, sod was placed, and I put a sprinkler system to water the sod. I contacted the city of West Palm Beach yard waste and contracted to have the yard waste picked up yesterday. I was there until after 12 yesterday, and the yard waste was not as yet picked up. The trash cans I've moved to the rear of the property, so they're no longer in view. And that's essentially the status of the case at this point, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Ms. Clark, you said the landscaping was complied.
I'm St. Hilaire for Ms.
St. Hilaire,
Clark.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah, the landscape was complied.
But not the trash can, so you haven't put eyes on that yet?
Yeah, I didn't see, the trash can was still out there when
Okay.
last I inspected.
So you must have inspected before I got there at about 9.
Okay.
Well, the city's recommending 15 days to comply anyway, so they'll need to come out and inspect.
Yes, sir.
And take a look at that. So, you know, I understand the landscaping is done, and from what you're telling me, the trash can's been put away correctly. They'll just need
Yes,
to
sir.
inspect that along with the clean and sanitary, the trash. Even if it's been picked up, they still need to inspect it.
Yes, sir.
And make sure that it's good. So is there anything else you'd like to tell me, sir?
No, sir.
Thank you. Anything else from the city?
That is all.
All right. City has proper notice in this case. I do find, based on the testimony and the evidence, that the property remains in violation as cited, except for City Code 94-442E regarding landscaping of the swale and parkway, which has complied. I'm going to accept the city's recommendation. In this case, I'm going to allow 15 additional days for you to comply. After that, though, daily fines of $100 per day will be assessed until compliance is achieved. So make sure that the trash can and the trash is picked up, and that you call for an inspection so that it can be verified that you're in compliance before the 15 days is up.
I will
Okay?
do so, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sir? here's a copy of your order. Now we have someone signed in for number 10, 718 59th Street, CE 22010128. That case is complied.
Complied?
Yeah, they may have left.
Okay.
Number 25, 600 Detroit Street, CE 22020041. Number 25, 600 Detroit Street.
The respondent, the property manager was here, but he didn't stay.
Okay.
Okay, so so is it okay?
Yeah, let's
to-
go ahead and proceed. Let's go
Okay,
ahead and call.
thank you.
Let's keep the record clean.
Alrighty. Michael Williams, Code Enforcement Officer, City of West Palm Beach. Let's see. Property, let's see. Excuse me one sec.
No problem.
Magistrate, I neglected to bring my sheet with all the pertinent dates. Can I go ahead and just grab that really quick and start again?
That's fine.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Next case, number 52, 922 5th Street, CE 22010173. Number 52, 922 5th Street.
Good morning.
Special magistrate, this respondent will need to be sworn in.
Okay, you were not here, sir, when I swore everybody in. Let me go ahead and place you under oath, since your testimony needs to be sworn. If you'll raise your right hand, do you swear or affirm under penalties of perjury that your testimony today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do swear.
Thank you very much. I'm going to have the city testify. I'm going to hear from the city's attorney and witnesses first, and after we're through with that presentation, then I'll come back to you and you can tell me about the case. All
No
right?
problem. Thank you.
Officer Luster, West Palm Code. This property was started by a tenant complaint in Unit 2 or 1. Both units were
Is
tenant
it a
complaint.
tenant complaint?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
And the property initiated the case on 1/12/2022. Certified mail was received on 1/21/22. Property was posted on 3/16 and City Hall. 3/16/2022. I have spoke with the tenant on numerous occasions. This is my first time actually having a conversation with the owner of the property, and he's here today. And all of the outstanding violations are safe egress. There are bars on the windows in the bedroom, and there are 2 windows in each bedroom that has bars on them, and we need to have a breakaway bar for safe egress. I explained that to Mr. Property owner. The handrails on the outside of the unit is in need of welding because they're rickety. You know what that means when I say rickety. Extermination of pets, meaning roaches and other little varmints. The responsibility of the owner is in regards to the extermination. I explained that to the property owner. The dwelling is in need of being window tight, doors tight, meaning weather stripping around doors. Repairing of interior walls for holes in walls. External doors also need weather stripping. Plumbing fixtures in the bathroom and in the kitchen were in need of replacement or repair because they were basically just shaking off of the sink.
They were what?
Moving on the sink. They weren't tied to the sink.
Oh, I see.
So
Okay.
they were in need of either a C-clamp or some kind of repair. The bathroom floors were having water issues from the toilet. And other equipment, like the washer, that particular plumbing pipe needed to be replaced for the washer. It's an inside washer, and it,
Plumbing leaks? from
yeah, the plumbing to the washer actually did leak. Then we needed some overgrowth taken care of on the outside, fence and maintenance, repair of the fencing, and landscaping of swell and landscaping of property itself. So I went by there yesterday. I've had no contact with the tenant on yesterday, but like I said, numerous contacts with the tenant. And majority of the landscaping is done. The only outstanding is the swell itself. The fence has been repaired. The overgrowth has come into compliance. And all of the interior repairs, I'm gonna have to do a inspection. So I'm asking for 90 days or $150 per day after that. And that's because to get the breakaway bars for the bedroom windows, it's gonna be something to get that done. Because these are existing bars, it has to be retrofitted, and get a welder to do the staircase. You don't need a permit for that because it's a repair, it's not an installation. And I need to see receipts from the extermination company. So I'm asking for the 90 days or $100 per day.
Okay, so is it 3 code sections that have complied?
Yes, sir.
That relate to landscaping?
Landscaping of the property and the fence repair and the overgrowth are compliant.
That's 74-4C3,
Yes, sir.
94-302A4,
Yes, sir.
94-446-2?
Correct.
Okay, great.
Officer Luster, is there a completed affidavit of posting in the file?
Yes, ma'am.
And I didn't hear, I may have missed it, I didn't hear about 18106A, clean and sanitary, trash and debris.
That's still a contention.
And in conjunction with your testimony about your observations of the violations, we've been looking at photographs while you testified. Are those photographs a fair and accurate depiction of your observations about these violations?
Yes, ma'am.
Special Magistrate, the city would like to submit as evidence a copy of the notice of violation, affidavit of posting, certified mailing documents, and photographs.
It's granted, those are part of the record. Is there anything else from the city at this time?
No, sir.
Okay, yes, sir. Back to you. Go ahead and tell me your name and address on the record, and then you can tell me about the case.
Franz Fortunate, owner of Fortunate Realty. I went by there when I got the notice about a month ago and took up some of the issues. And I've spoken with Officer Luster that I will move forward to, as I've done in the past when we had an issue before. I purchased a property with a lot of problems, and I took care of them. I said I would, and I did. And I intend to do the same thing. 90 days will be fine, and I'll be able to get those done. So I also hired a property manager that's going to oversee the project for the next 90 days with me. I do have a contract with pest control. I have a copy of that I can give to the magistrate. And whatever the issue is, we'll get it taken care of right away. It was really a matter of disgruntled tenant as usual. But the pest control thing is not an issue. I have videos that I showed Officer Luster that they said there's no problem, there's no issue. That's as of yesterday, 5 o'clock. So being in Florida, you have 1 or 2 bugs, but we do not have any infestation. We do have a contract for the next 3 to 5 months with pest control. Like I said, the property manager, keep their eyes on that. And so we should not have any problem past 90 days now.
All right, well, then you just need to stay in touch with the city, and
Yes, I will.
you will need to come and put eyes on it to verify compliance.
Yes, myself and the new property manager, we'll be working with Officer Luster to take care of that within the next 90 days.
Okay. I appreciate your commitment to the 90-day timeframe. Is there anything else that you would like to tell me?
No, that's it.
Okay, then in this case, I do find proper notice. The respondent is present. City has the appropriate documentation in the file. Based on the testimony and the evidence, I will find the property remains in violation as cited, with the exception of 74-4C3 regarding overgrowth, 94-302A4 regarding fence and wall maintenance, and 94-446-2 regarding landscaping on the property. Those have complied. I will accept the city's recommendation, allow 90 additional days for the outstanding violations to be cured. After that, daily fines of $150 per day will be assessed until compliance is achieved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sir, here's a copy of your order. Okay, back to number 25, 600 Detour Street, CE 22020041.
Michael Williams, Code Enforcement Officer, City of West Palm Beach. On 2224, myself as well as Electrical Inspector Jay Cooley went out to 600 Detour Street as a result of a complaint with regard to some of the conditions there at the property. There were some allegations with regard to work being completed without permits, to include some electrical, some plumbing, and some interior violations. At any rate, the property was cited on 2/4/22. The certified mail was sent on 2/4/22. There is, in fact, a signed certified mail receipt on file. The property in City Hall was posted. There is a affidavit of posting in the file. As of last evening, the following code sections that were cited by, that were given to me by Electrical Inspector Jay Cooley have complied. 105.1, 109.4, 110.1, and also 107.1 as they have pulled permits and getting the necessary inspections for the scope of the electrical work that's going forward at the location. The following sections, which I cited them for, 18100, safe egress, there was a boarded window. That particular section has complied. And let's see. And that would be it as far as, 18100 regarding boarded windows, and also 94-45-B-1-E. The city would like to remove that particular section as the parking lot is in good condition. The following sections, once again, that I cited for remain in violation as of an inspection that was conducted as recently as this morning. 18103C, repairing of the interior walls and floors. 18103-E, doors, vents, and windows and exhaust systems requiring be weather tight. 18103I, equipment maintenance required. 18105A, requiring, there was, this particular structure had been closed up for a period of over a year, and inside of some of the walls there was, I guess, like raccoons that had nested in there. And so when they went in and they commenced working in there, conducting their business, I should say, employees were calling saying that there was raccoons in there. They apparently found some baby raccoons and some other stuff that was going on. So I cited them for extermination of the structure and required them to provide proof, which we have not received. They were cited for certificate of use, also the business tax receipt, which they have made application for. However, they have not gotten the necessary inspections, which it's pretty imperative that they get the necessary inspections in light of the fact that this is a 6,000-foot warehouse. And so it's really important that they do get the necessary inspections from fire. And let's see. And that would be it.
18103G, the plumbing, that's still in violation as well.
That violation,
It's printed up pretty funny here. It's up here.
oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, the restrooms, Both bathrooms, they do have a restroom for both the men and the women. And both of the restrooms, even as recently as this morning, the floors are constantly wet. The drywall is wet in both bathrooms. There's holes in the walls as well, and so and the restrooms are just not functioning properly. They need paint. They're just in my view, kind of despicable conditions. And when you see the pictures, it's pretty obvious.
Okay, thank you.
Officer Williams, in conjunction with your testimony and the photographs that we've been seeing during your testimony, could you just briefly tell us a little bit more about your observations?
Sure.
About the interior walls and floors?
Sure. With regard to the interior walls, there are just many areas that still require paint. There's many areas that are very soiled, dirty, lots of dust. Let's see, and the scope of some of that may also require some permits, which I did advise them to make sure that they touch base with the building division to inquire whether the scope of what they're doing does require permits. With regard to the external doors and windows, some of the vents have been foamed over. Some of the vents have plastic over them. Again, this is really necessary in the event that there is a fire inside of the structure. This is really necessary in terms of exhaust. And one of the doors is really rusted. One of the metal doors is really rusted down at the bottom. Probably like a 4-inch entry, which they can get rats and snakes and vermin, roaches otherwise. Outside of the front of the structure, there's a metal collision rail that's in disrepair. Looks like someone ran into it. And also the ends of that collision rail have been ripped off by, it looks like, vehicles, which presents as a health safety issue. Someone could cut themselves, someone could be pushed onto that and killed, or any number of things. Let's see. Again, with regard to the animals that were noted in there were possums or raccoons or whatever they were that were found inside. And so I think that about wraps it up.
Thank you. And the photographs that we've been seeing, do they fairly and accurately represent your observations?
Absolutely.
Thank-
Yeah, they have a pretty fair amount of aesthetic work that needs to be accomplished. Again, with regard to painting, cleaning, just holes. So there's a pretty fair amount of work that still has to be accomplished. And prior to them taking this as a tenant, this place was probably closed down, at least to my mind, seems like a couple years that it was vacant.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any contact with the owner?
Yes, I have had contact with the property manager, which he was here this morning. He and I talked about it. He was showing me what looked like a lease, and he was saying that per the lease, they agreed to make any repairs to the interior and exterior of the structure, and that's not the property owner's responsibility at this stage. But he understands that at the end of the day, the property owner is responsible. So I did indicate to him, that's something that the tenant and he are going to have to work out. So he kind of feels like, they're on the hook for this. They meaning the tenant is on the hook for this and they need to take care of it. So
Great.
whatever. But short of a long story is this: I did indicate to him that I was going to request 45 additional days in order to comply, or a fine of $150 per day be imposed.
Thank you. Special Magistrate, the city would like to submit as evidence a copy of the notice of violation, affidavit of posting, certified mailing documents, and photographs.
That is granted. Those documents are part of the record. Mr. Williams, how many days did you want?
45 additional days, or a fine
Or
of $150 be imposed.
Okay. And you said the respondent's representative was here, but they had to leave?
They had to leave.
Okay. All right. I do find proper notice in this case with the signed certified mail. Also note for the record, the respondent's representative was present, but they left before we got to the hearing. Based on the testimony and the evidence, I will find that the property remains in violation as cited, with the exception of the following code sections which have complied: 105.1, 109.4, 110.1, and 107.1 that are building code related. Properties also complied with City Code 18100 regarding safe egress. All other violations remain outstanding. I will accept the city's recommendation in this case, allow 45 additional days for the outstanding violations to be cured. After that, daily fines of $150 per day will be assessed until compliance is achieved.
Thank you.
That's all we have for contested matters. Next case number 600 South Dixie Highway, 237 CE 22010406.
Good morning, Officer Levine, City of West Palm Beach Code. This property was cited for failure to obtain a rental license and certificate of use. Certified mail was sent on 1/28/2022. Certified mail was signed on 1/31/2022. The property was posted on 3/10/2022. I've had no contact with the property owner. Occupancy of this unit was verified by property management. The city is requesting 30 days to come into compliance, or $200 a day thereafter.
Officer Levine, was City Hall also posted?
Yes, ma'am.
And was an affidavit of posting
Yes.
completed and in the file?
Yes.
Special Magistrate, the city would like to submit as evidence a copy of the notice of violation, affidavit of posting, certified mailing documents, and photographs in the file which evidence the posting.
That is granted. Those documents are made part of the record. City has proper notice even though the respondent is not present. Based on the testimony and the evidence, I do find the property remains in violation as cited. I will accept the city's recommendation, allow 30 additional days for the violations to be cured. After that, daily fines of $200 per day will be assessed until compliance is achieved.
Thank you.
Sir.
Number 23104 Clyde Road, CE 22020221.
Good morning, Sonny Vince, City of West Palm Beach, Code Enforcement. This property was cited on February 14. Notice of violation was posted at the property and at City Hall on February 14. Certified mail was received and mail was sent on February 14th. The property was cited for outdoor storage. As you can see in the photo, there's multiple boxes, refrigerators, washers, coolers, pots, brooms, and also a sofa that is in public view. I have made contact with the property owner's son and explained ways to gain compliance. As of today, the property is still out of compliance with outdoor storage. There's a sofa still there, the refrigerator, and boards. The city is requesting an additional 15 days to gain compliance, or $50 per day until compliance is achieved.
Officer Binns, was an affidavit of posting completed and in the file?
Yes, I think I said that seconds ago. Yes, it was posted. City Hall and at property on February 14.
Special Magistrate, the city would like to submit as evidence a copy of the notice of violation, certified mailing documents, affidavit of posting, and photographs.
That is granted. Those documents are made part of the record. Excuse me. City has proper notice even though the respondent is not present. Based on the testimony and the evidence, I find property remains in violation as cited. I will accept the city's recommendation, allow 15 additional days for the property to be brought into compliance. After that, daily fines of $50 per day will be assessed until compliance is achieved.
Thank you.
Number 3, 730 New York Street, CE 211-00287.
Good morning. Don Williams, Code Enforcement, City of West Palm Beach. 730 New York Street was cited on October 21st of 21. Certified mail sent on February 17th of 22. Property posted on 3/18 of 22. I cited this property for garbage can placement, number standards, and landscaping of the swell. As of yesterday, the only outstanding violation is 94442E, which is landscaping of the swell area. Contact has been made with the owner of the property, and we agreed 30 days additional is needed to comply the swell. So 30 days, $50 per day after that.
Okay.
Officer Williams, was regular mail also sent?
Yes, regular mail sent, yes.
And was City Hall posted?
Yes, posted on 3/18 of 22.
Is an affidavit of posting completed and in the file?
Yes.
And do the photographs that we've been looking at fairly and accurately represent your observations of the swale violation?
Yes.
Special Magistrate, the city would like to submit as evidence a copy of the notice of violation, affidavit of posting, certified mailing documents, and photographs.
As granted, those documents are made part of the file. Mr. Williams, you said you made contact. I'm guessing it's not that Paul Newman.
I'm sorry, say again?
I said, I'm guessing it's not that Paul Newman.
It is. Oh, no, not that one. I'm sorry. No, not that one. A local fellow.
Could have got some spaghetti sauce out of it. All right. The city does have proper notice, even though Mr. Newman is not present. Based on the testimony and the evidence, I will find property remains in violation of City Code 94442E, but has complied with the other two code sections. I will accept the city's recommendation and allow an additional 30 days for compliance. After that, daily fines of $50 per day will be assessed until compliance is achieved.
Number 4, 2601 Parker Avenue, CE 2112041.
Don Williams, Code Enforcement, 2601 Park Avenue, cited December 11th of 21. Certified mail sent 2/18 of 22. City Hall and the property was posted 3/18 of 22. This property was cited for shaping of a tree, the lollipop style, and tree abuse, which is 94446-2-C-3. Contact was made with the owner, and we came to agreement that he would pay $250 per tree for 3 trees, which is a total of $750.
Officer Williams, was regular mail also sent?
Yes, regular mail was sent.
And was a completed affidavit of posting done?
Yes.
And do your photographs fairly and accurately represent your observations with regard to the trees?
Yes.
Special Magistrate, the city would like to submit as evidence a copy of the notice of violation, certified mailing documents, affidavit of posting, and photographs.
As granted, those documents are made part of the file, so all the trees died? Or
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. City does have proper notice, even though the respondent is not present. Based on the testimony and the evidence, find the property remains in violation as cited. We'll accept the city's recommendation and assess a one-time fine of $250 per tree for 3 trees for a total of $750. Is there a deadline that the city wants put in the order for that payment to be made, or?
I didn't discuss that with them, so I don't know.
You can put in 30 days.
Granted, 30 days.
I'll let him know.
Okay.
Thank you.
Number 5, 353 Gregory Road, CE 22030051.
Good morning, Joseph Oliva, Code Enforcement Officer for the City of West Palm Beach. This property was cited on 3/3/2022. Service was accomplished by certified mail sent on 3/3/2022. Certified mail was signed for on 3/8/2022. In addition, both the property and City Hall were posted on 3/3/2022. The affidavit of posting was entered into the case and turned over for processing. This property was cited for 18-162-A rental license and 22-32-A certificate of use. As of this morning, the property has not come into compliance. Therefore, the city's asking for an additional 30 days for them to come into compliance. If they did not come into compliance, the city's asking for $100 a day until compliance is achieved.
Officer Oliva, was regular mail also sent?
Yes.
And what is your observation or testimony with regard to evidence of renting?
Well, the property's been owned by a company since June of 2019. They've had a rental license. The application was filled out. The rental license was good up until just now. They haven't paid. They're delinquent right now.
Thank you. Special Magistrate, the city would like to submit as evidence a copy of the notice of violation, certified mailing documents, affidavit of posting, and photograph with regard to affidavit of posting.
That is granted. Those documents are made part of the record. Did you say that they've applied?
No, they have already applied since 2019. They've been renting since 2019, but right now they're delinquent in their payment for this year.
Okay. All right, city has proper notice, even though the respondent is not present. Based on the testimony and the evidence, I find property remains in violation as cited. I'll accept the city's recommendation, allow 30 additional days to comply. After that, daily fines of $100 per day will be assessed until compliance is achieved.
Number 6, 920 Macy Street, CE 22030081.
Joseph Oliva, Code Enforcement Officer for the City of West Palm Beach. This property was cited on 3/3/2022. Service was accomplished by certified mail sent on 3/4/2022. Certified mail was signed on 3/7/2022. In addition, both the property and City Hall were posted on 3/4/2022. The affidavit of posting was entered into the case and turned over for processing. I have been in contact with the owner of the property. The property was cited for 94-482-A unpaved parking, 94-442-C-1 landscape maintenance, and 14-1's chickens. As of this morning, the property has come into compliance with everything, but they weren't complied by the complied by date. They complied yesterday. So the city's asking for a finding of fact in this case.
What was the date that the notice of violation required compliance?
I'm sorry?
What date did the notice of violation require the compliance in order to avoid a finding of fact?
Could you pull that up for me? It's in the case. Yeah, just go into the, no, it won't be in there. It'll be in the actual case. Go into the events and inspections, and it should be the one right there, the third one from the top. What does that say? I can't read that. That's it should be the reinspection at the top there, the third one up. The third one from the top. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it should be in there. It's in the mailings and postings there. Yeah. Nope. Doesn't it say like the NOV? Yeah.
There we go.
Just scroll, it's the first, yeah, it's that yellow one.
April
right
1st.
there.
So the notice of violation allowed till April 1st, and this didn't comply till April 5th.
Yes.
Got it. Okay.
And, I'm sorry, Special Magistrate, if I may, when was your last date of observation of these violations, and did you observe the chickens?
yesterday, and no, the chickens weren't there, but the chicken coops were. And I think I have them in a picture, but they crushed the chicken coops. And that's why the city wants to do a finding of fact, because kind of afraid that they might bring them back.
Special Magistrate, the city would like to submit as evidence a copy of the notice of violation, certified mailing documents, affidavit of posting, and photographs.
That is granted. Those documents are made part of the record. The city has proper notice, even though the respondent is not present. Based on the testimony and the evidence, I will find that the property was in violation until April 5th, when it came into compliance. The notice of violation required compliance by April 1st. Therefore, I do make a finding of fact of the violations in this case.
Number 7, 6300 South Dixie Highway, number 201, CE 22030105.
Joseph Oliva, Code Enforcement Officer for the City of West Palm Beach. This property was cited on 3/7/2022. Service was accomplished by certified mail sent on 3/8/2022. Certified mail was returned on 3/11/2022. In addition, both the property and City Hall were posted on 3/8/2022. The affidavit of posting was entered into the case and turned over for processing. I have not been in contact with the owner of the property. The property was cited for business tax license 82-144. As of this morning, the property has not come into compliance. Therefore, the city is asking for an additional 30 days for them to come into compliance. If they did not come into compliance, then the city's asking for $100 a day until compliance is achieved. Now, I did go out to the property a couple of times, and their signs are still up. There's still furniture inside the building, and there was a note saying, go down to, they have this rehab place downstairs for the mail. You know, I guess they take the lady's mail, they bring it down there, and then when she goes there, they bring it, she takes it from them. But the lady in the rehab place gave me her number, and I did call her a couple of times, but no answer. And as of yesterday, I went there. There's still the furniture in there. There was the signs up for the Palm Beach healing thing or something like that.
Okay.
Officer Oliva, was regular mail also sent?
Yes.
And what was your observation about what the name of the business was that was operating?
With my photo showing that the business signs are still up on the windows and the furniture inside the building, and that they're still running a business out of that.
And for the
You want
record, based on the photographs, what is that business?
It looks like a healing center. It says Palm Beach
Palm
Healing
Beach
Center.
Healing Arts?
Yeah.
Okay. Special Magistrate, the city would like to submit as evidence a copy of the notice of violation, affidavit of posting, certified mailing documents, and photographs.
That is granted. Those documents are made part of the record. So this is not a delinquent business tax situation. They've never had a business.
No, it
tax?
is. It is. It's also delinquent. It's like $100 and something delinquent.
So
There is a license for it, but she didn't update it.
then the daily, I think the statute requires a one-time fine, not a daily. So would this be a 25% of the tax plus?
I believe that would be for delinquent. Yes, I would agree.
Okay. So I will, all right. City has proper notice in this case, even though the respondent is not present. Based on testimony and evidence, if we find the property remains in violation as cited, we'll impose a penalty of 25% of the delinquent business tax plus a one-time fine of $250. I think that's the statutory appropriate remedy.
Number 8, 727 50th Street, CE 22010091.
City of West Beach Code Compliance, Robert Watkins. This property was cited on January the 6th, certified mail sent January the 7th. Certified was received January the 11th. City Hall was posted March 18th. This property was cited for excessive growth, maintaining of landscaping, Also a repeat violation and garbage can placement. All violations are still remaining at the residence. I haven't had any other contact with the homeowners. The city is requesting on the garbage can placement, a total of 20 days to have it removed, or $25 per day after. As for the repeat, it stems from case CE 200-70415 that was cited July 27th of 2021. It complied October the 16th of 2021. It's also attached in the case file, the findings on that. The city is requesting for the repeat violation a total of $50 a day on those until those are brought into compliance.
And tell me again what day that was first observed?
On January the 6th,
And is that for 18106M and B? That's the repeat?
18106B and 18106M.
All right. And then you want 20 days on the garbage can placement?
Yes, sir. Along with the outdoor storage. Well, that's not on there, but there's a lot of storage right there where the garbage can is.
I don't see the outdoor storage on my,
No, it's not on there.
okay, gotcha.
It's right by the outdoor storage, so when you see it in the picture, it's
Yeah,
out there.
okay.
Officer Watkins, was regular mail sent?
Per the city, yes, it shows that they did send regular mail on there.
Was the property posted?
Yes, the property was posted as well.
Was an affidavit of posting completed and in the file?
Yep, it's on there, and there's actually a folder that says repeat that has the affidavit from last case on there as well.
And could you please describe your observations of the violations?
Lots of grass everywhere, overgrown, bushes overgrown. Can't walk through it without getting stickers on you if you look at the pictures, but just overgrowth everywhere on the property.
And with regard to the trash can, what was your observation?
I was just right in the front by the car, just a normal spot for it to sit, I would assume.
And with regard to the underlying case that you put on the record, did that go through a special magistrate order?
Yes, it did. It was adjudicated. They had all of it cleaned up and everything within the time given, but as you can see in the pictures, it went right back to the same old condition.
Thank you, Special Magistrate. The city would like to submit as evidence a copy of the notice of violation, certified mailing documents, affidavit of posting, photographs with regard to the observations of the officer, as well as the underlying case which forms the repeat violation of the order.
That is granted. Those documents are made part of the record in this case. The city has proper notice, even though the respondent is not present. Based on the testimony and the evidence, I will find that the property remains in violation as cited. For the violation of 7434A1J regarding garbage can placement, I'll allow 20 days to comply. After that, daily fines of $25 per day will be assessed until compliance is achieved. For the violations of 18106B and M, again, find those remain in violation. I find, based on the evidence, those are repeat violations, which were first observed on January 6th of 2022. I will impose daily fines of $50 per day beginning on January 6th and continuing to accrue until compliance is achieved.
Number 9, 528 49th Street, CE 220100103.
City of West Beach Code Compliance, Robert Watkins. This property was cited on January the 7th. Certified mail was sent January the 10th. City Hall was posted March the 18th. Certified mail was received January the 11th. This property was cited for garbage can placement, parking requirements, and outdoor storage. The compliant violation would be the garbage can placement and the outdoor storage. The remaining violations on this property are the unpaved parking. As you see, they're just continuing to park multiple vehicles on the back side of the home. So for this, the city is requesting 20 days to remove the vehicles from the unpaved areas of parking, or a total fine of $50 per day after.
Officer Watkins, was the property posted?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's a picture also of the posting that I did on the front door.
Was regular mail sent?
For the city, yes, it was.
Was a completed affidavit of posting done and in the file?
Yes, it's attached down to the bottom.
Do the photographs accurately and fairly represent your observations of the violations on this property?
Yeah, everything that I've seen, it's in the pictures there.
Special Magistrate, the city would like to submit as evidence a copy of the notice of violation, certified mailing documents, affidavit of posting, and photographs.
That is granted. Those documents are made part of the record. In this case, city has proper notice, even though the respondent is not present. Based on the testimony and the evidence, I find property remains in violation of City Code 94-482A regarding parking requirements, but has complied with the other code sections cited in the notice. I will accept the city's recommendation, allow 20 additional days for compliance. After that, daily fines of $50 per day will be assessed until compliance is achieved.
Number 10 is complied, 718 59th Street, CE 220100128. Is that correct?
Yes.
Number 11, 501 53rd Street, CE 220100149.
City of West Beach Code Compliance, Robert Watkins. This property was cited on January the 11th. Certified mail was sent January the 11th. Certified mail was received January the 15th. City Hall was posted on March the 18th. This property was cited for landscape, maintaining of landscape, repeat violation, and clean and sanitary. Compliant violations. This would be the clean and sanitary. Remaining violations are the landscape maintenance. The city is requesting $50 per day for the violations of the repeat. The repeat stems from case CE 21060350, and it was for 18-106M. It was cited on January the 23rd, 2021. It was complied on August 31st, 2021. And as in my last case, there's a folder that has repeat on it that has the previous case file on it from the findings and the time given.
And then tell me again when the repeat was first observed.
January the 11th.
January 11th.
I usually hear from this management company, but I have not heard from them at all this time around. The last case was a finding of fact, actually. That's in there as well.
Okay.
Officer Watkins, was regular mail also sent?
Per the city, yes, it was sent.
Was the property posted?
Yes, and there's a photo of the posting.
Did you complete an affidavit of posting?
Yes.
And for the underlying case for the repeat is, what was the date of the special magistrate order?
What was the date of the order for the repeat?
Yeah.
For the finding of fact date?
Yes.
Oh, you're gonna have to zoom in a little bit so I can see the date.
Can you just scroll down a little bit? There we go.
What has there done on the order on December 1st, 2021. But it also has 10/14/2021, right after the $100 beginning of owner.
Can you speak into the microphone? We can't hear you.
Looking at one of the dates that said beginning on 10/14/2021, and until compliance date of November the 19th, 2021.
And that order itself was dated December 1st, 2021? Is that the order that you're referring to?
Yes, the one that's on the screen.
Okay. And do your photographs accurately and fairly represent your observations of the
Oh, yes,
violations?
there's high grass everywhere on there. There's overgrowth of trees and shrubs all over the property.
Thank you. Special Magistrate, the city would like to submit as evidence a copy of the notice of violation, certified mailing documents, affidavit of posting, photographs, as well as the underlying case, affidavit of compliance, and special magistrate's order.
That is granted. Those documents are made part of the record. So really, this is the second repeat.
Yeah, it's a continuous with this property. They'll do it and they won't do it for a while, then I'm not sure what's going on.
All right. The city has proper notice, even though the respondent is not present. Based on the testimony and the evidence, I find the property has complied with City Code 18106A, but remains in violation of 18106M. I find that violation is a repeat violation, which was first observed on January 11th of 2022. I will assess daily fines of $50 per day beginning January 11th, 22, and continuing each day until compliance is achieved.
Number 12, 406 Gale Place, CE 22010202.
Good morning, Officer Marcus Williams, City of West Palm Beach Code Enforcement. The address at 406 Gale Place was originally cited on January 13th, 2022. The certified mail was sent out January 19th, 2022. That was returned February 11th, 2022. The property, as well as City Hall, was posted on March 18th, 2022, and an affidavit of posting was signed and submitted into the case file. I've had contact with the owner and the owner's daughter. They were originally cited for 18106B, excessive growth of the lawn there, 34102A for the junk or abandoned vehicle, the black Ford Mustang with flat tires and no tag on it, 7434A1J for the garbage can being in plain view of the public, and 78-6 for the address characters that are needed on the home. To date, 18106B, the excessive overgrowth, as well as 7434A1J, the garbage can placement has been complied. The other two, the abandoned junk or abandoned vehicle, as well as the address characters, are still not in compliance. The owner, as well as her daughter, is requesting additional time due to the owner's illness. So the city is requesting additional 30 days to bring the property into compliance, or a $50 a day fine thereafter.
50?
50, yes, sir.
Thank you.
Officer Williams, was regular mail also sent?
Yes, ma'am.
And the photographs that we're seeing while you've testified, do they fairly and accurately represent your observations of the violations?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Special Magistrate. The city would like to submit as evidence a copy of the notice of violation, certified mailing documents, affidavit of posting, and photographs.
That is granted. Those documents are made part of the file. City has proper notice with the posting following the certified mail that was returned. Based on the testimony and the evidence, I find the property remains in violation of City Code Section 34102A regarding junk and abandoned vehicles, and 78-6 regarding numbering standards, but has complied with the other code sections that were cited in the notice. I will accept the city's recommendation, allow 30 additional days to cure the outstanding violations. After that, daily fines of $50 per day will be assessed until compliance is achieved.
Number 13 is complied, 2101 Pinehurst Drive, CE 22010210. Number 14, 2109 Pinehurst Drive, CE 22010212.
Officer Marcus Williams, City of West Palm Beach Code Enforcement. The property at 2109 Pinehurst Drive was originally cited on January 13th, 2022. Certified mail was sent January 19th, 2022. That was returned January 25th, 2022. The property, as well as City Hall, was posted on March 17th, 2022, and an affidavit of posting was completed and placed in the case file. To date, I've had no contact with the owner. There were cited for 9442A for parking the boat on the grass of the property on the side there, and 9447B for the restricted vehicle, the same boat that needs to be screened. Like I said, I've had no contact with the owner, but the city is requesting, to my knowledge, I don't think the owner lives here. So the city is requesting 90 days to bring the property into compliance, or $50 a day fine thereafter.
Is it both?
Say again?
There's two boats in the picture.
Yes, the gentleman next door, he's already worked on his, that case. That was the previous case. That case has already been closed out and complied.
So it's the bigger boat, or is it the smaller boat?
It's the smaller boat
Smaller
that
boat,
needs to be
okay.
screened.
Bigger
Yes,
boat's
sir.
a different case, different property.
Yes, sir.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Officer Williams, was regular mail also sent?
Yes, ma'am.
And do your photographs that we've been seeing while you've testified, do they fairly and accurately represent your observations of the violations?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Special Magistrate, the city would like to submit as evidence a copy of the notice of violation, certified mailing documents, affidavit of posting, and photographs.
That is granted. Those documents are made part of the file. The city has proper notice with the posting following the return of certified mail. Based on the testimony and the evidence, I will find the property remains in violation As cited, I'll allow 90 additional days to comply. After that, daily fines of $50 per day will be assessed until compliance is achieved.
Number 15, 419 Superior Place, CE 22020239.
Officer Marcus Williams, City of West Palm Beach Code Enforcement. The property at 419 Superior Place was originally cited on February 15th, 2022. Certified mail was sent February 16th, 2022. That was returned March 21st, 2022. The property, as well as City Hall, was posted on March 18th, 2022. An affidavit of posting was prepared and placed in the case file. I've had contact with the owner. They were originally cited for 9442A for parking the vehicles on the grass of the property there, as well as 9471-C for the outdoor storage, various items that are stored under the carport and on the side of the home. The owner is willing to clean everything up. He's actually wants to extend the driveway because of the various individuals who live there in the home with him, his wife and his 2 children. So the city is requesting an additional 60 days so that way he can apply for the permit and get the materials needed to do that, or a $50 a day fine until the compliance is achieved.
Officer Williams, was regular mail also sent?
Yes, ma'am.
And do the photographs that we've been reviewing during your testimony, do they fairly and accurately represent your observations of the violations?
Yes, ma'am.
Special Magistrate, the city would like to submit as evidence a copy of the notice of violation, certified mailing documents, affidavit of posting, and photographs.
That is granted. Those documents are made part of the record in this case. The city has proper notice, even though the respondent is not present. Based on testimony and the evidence, I do find the property remains in violation as cited. We'll allow 60 additional days for compliance. After that, daily fines of $50 per day will be assessed until compliance is achieved.
Thank you, sir.
Number 17 is complied, 730 43rd Street, CE 22010256. Number 18, 3412 Greenwood Avenue, CE 22020263.
Good morning, Jay Francis, City of West Palm Beach Code Enforcement. 3412 Greenwood Avenue was cited on 2/16/22. Certified mail was sent on 2/17/22. Both the property and City Hall were posted on 3/28/22. Affidavit of posting was completed. This property was cited for clean and sanitary, landscape maintenance, garbage can placement, and outdoor storage. I have been in contact with the owner. As of this morning, the property has come in compliance for clean and sanitary, garbage can placement, and outdoor storage. Therefore, the city is asking for an additional 30 days for them to come into compliance. If they do not come into compliance, then the city is asking for $50 a day until compliance is achieved.
So the only violation remaining is the landscape maintenance?
And the property owner actually called and explained that the sod will be in tomorrow. So
30 days should be plenty of time then.
yeah.
Okay.
Officer Francis, was regular mail also sent?
Yes.
The affidavit of posting that was completed, is it in the file?
Yes.
And the landscape maintenance, could you just briefly describe your observations?
The front area of the property is mostly dirt. You can see it from the sidewalk and from the area in front of the driveway on the road.
Thank you. And do the photographs that we've been reviewing, do they fairly and accurately represent the observations you made of the violations?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Special Magistrate, the city would like to submit as evidence a copy of the notice of violation, certified mailing documents, affidavit of posting, and photographs.
That is granted. Those documents will be made or are made part of the record in this case. Based on first of all, the city has proper notice. Based on the testimony and the evidence, I find the property remains in violation of City Code 18106K regarding landscape maintenance, but has complied with all other code sections originally cited. I will accept the city's recommendation, allow 30 additional days for compliance. After that, daily fines of $50 per day will be assessed until compliance is achieved.
Thank you.
Number 19 is complied, 712 39th Street, CE 22030128. Number 20, 5500 Columbus Road, CE 22030044.
Good morning. City of West Palm Beach Code Enforcement, Richard Pasmino. This property was cited on March 2nd, 2022. It was cited for outside storage, concrete blocks being stored in the side yard, and Florida Building Code Section 105.4.1.3, expired permits. There are 2 expired permits for this property. Certified mail was sent out March 3rd. It was received March 7th. Regular mail was also sent. And this property and City Hall were posted on March 4th, 2022. There have been no changes with the expired permits and no contact from the owners. The concrete blocks were moved to the backyard, but they are still visible from the street and visible to the public. The city is recommending 30 additional days for this property to come in compliance with these code sections, or the city is asking for a $100 a day fine until compliance is achieved.
If there was an active building permit, would that
The-
allow the cinder blocks to be there, or
The expired permit is for roofing and fence, so
probably not using those on?
yeah.
All right, thank you.
Officer Pasmino, was an affidavit of posting completed, and is it in the file?
Yes, and yes.
Thank you. Do the photographs that we've been reviewing during your testimony fairly and accurately represent your observations of the
They-
violations?
They represent the outdoor storage, and there should also be a screenshot of our system showing the expired permits.
Thank you. Special Magistrate, the city would like to submit as evidence a copy of the notice of violation, certified mailing documents, affidavit of posting, photographs, and the screenshot of the status of the permits.
As granted, those documents are part of the record in this case. The city has proper notice, even though the respondent is not present. Based on the testimony and the evidence, I find the property remains in violation as cited. I'll allow 30 additional days for compliance. After that, daily fines of $100 per day will be assessed until compliance is achieved.
Number 21, 1121 Summit Boulevard, CE 22030064.
Richard Pasmino, City of West Palm Beach Code Enforcement. This property was cited for trash and debris, clean and sanitary conditions, excessive growth of weeds and grass, failure to comply within 10 days, and landscape maintenance. This property was cited March 3rd, 2022. Certified mail was sent out March 4th. It was returned March 5th. Regular mail was sent out. This property and City Hall were posted on March 4th. I've had no contact from the owner of this property. On the notice of violation, there was an ordered inspection date of March 28th. At that date, there were no changes at the property. But as of yesterday, the property has been cut and cleaned. It's still no contact. The city's recommending this property be found in violation, but since then, it has complied.
Officer Pasmino, was an affidavit of posting completed and in the file?
Yes.
And the photographs that we've been reviewing, did they fairly and accurately represent your observations of the violations?
Yes, they do.
And with regard to the clean and sanitary,
Yeah, so the photos show the property was not being maintained at all, overgrown, tires in the front yard, trash, and it has all been cleaned up
okay.
sometime this weekend or earlier this week.
And that also includes the landscape maintenance, that was that observation as well?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Special Magistrate, the city would like to submit as evidence a copy of the notice of violation, certified mailing documents, affidavit of posting, and photographs.
Thank you. Those, that is granted, those documents are made part of the file. So is everything in compliance now?
Yes, for this case. There's already a case running fines for the other issues.
So it's a finding of fact?
Yes, finding a fact.
And what was the date of compliance in the notice of violation?
On the notice violation, the ordered reinspection date was March 28th,
And when did it come in?
and it failed on that date. It complied, yesterday is when I noticed it, in compliance.
All right, well, the city has proper notice in this case. Based on the testimony and the evidence, I will find the property is now in compliance, but the compliance did not occur within the time required by the notice of violation, so a finding of fact is made.
Number 22, 810 McIntosh Street, CE 22030066.
Richard Pasmino, City of West Palm Beach Code Enforcement. This property was cited for clean and sanitary conditions, trash and debris on this property, rental license and certificate of use required, and fence maintenance. This property was cited on March 4th. Certified mail was sent out March 4th. It was received March 7th. Notice was sent by regular mail as well, and this property and City Hall were posted on March 17th. I've met the owner at the property. He applied for a rental license. He paid the dues, but the rental inspection has failed. There are numerous issues inside the unit, and I haven't had time to go re-inspect it again. The owner lives in New York. So the city's asking for 15 days to come into compliance. The owner knows what needs to be done in order to obtain the rental license. The fence has been removed, that picket fence, so it complied that case. Then the trash and debris is still in violation.
So by removing the fence, they did comply with that 94?
Yes.
302, okay.
Officer Pasmino, was an affidavit of posting completed and in the file?
Yes.
And could you just briefly describe your observation of the trash and debris?
The tenants are not taking care of the property at all. There's trash and debris up and down the driveway in that front yard. And when I did the rental inspection, there's a ton of trash in the backyard, I noticed.
Thank you. Do the photographs that we've been reviewing during your testimony, do they fairly and accurately represent your observations of the violations?
Yes, they do.
Thank you, Special Magistrate. The city would like to submit as evidence a copy of the notice of violation, certified mailing documents, affidavit of posting, and photographs.
That is granted. Those documents are made part of the file in this case. City has proper notice, even though the respondent is not present. Based on the testimony and evidence, I find the property has complied with 94302A4 by removing the offending fence. Property remains, and the other three are still in violation.
Yes, they are.
What was the dollar amount?
$100 a day,
100.
15 days.
I will accept the city's recommendation, allow 15 additional days for compliance. After that, daily fines of $100 per day will be assessed until compliance is achieved.
Number 23, 5610 Georgia Avenue, CE 22030097.
Richard Pasmino, City of West Palm Beach Code Enforcement. This is a commercial building. It was cited for clean and sanitary conditions. The sidewalk was stained with grease and oil, dirty. A business tax receipt, certificate of use required for a business there, Woody's Burger, outdoor storage, landscape maintenance, and restriction upon land use. That was for the food truck that was operating at that location. This property was cited March 5th. Certified mail was sent out March 7th. It was received March 9th. Notice was sent by regular mail as well. My affidavit of posting is in file. I posted it on March 23rd at City Hall and at the property. I have been in contact with the property owner and the business owner. As of today, the only remaining violation is 94-446-2, the landscape maintenance. There are still overgrown weeds and the palm trees are overgrown, leaning onto the building. The city is recommending 15 additional days or a fine of $50 a day.
So they comply with everything except the landscape.
Yes.
That's pretty good.
Officer Pasmino, do the photographs that we've been reviewing during your testimony, do they fairly and accurately represent your observations of the violations?
Yes, and the newer photos they show the compliance as well.
Thank you.
Other sections.
Thank you. Special Magistrate, the city would like to submit as evidence a copy of the notice of violation, certified mailing documents, affidavit of posting, and photographs.
That is granted. Those documents are made part of the file. City has proper notice in this case. Based on the testimony and the evidence, I will find property remains in violation of City Code 94-446-2 regarding landscape maintenance, but has complied with all other code sections cited in the notice. I'll accept the city's recommendation, allow 15 additional days to comply. After that, daily fines of $50 per day are assessed until compliance is achieved.
Number 24, 716 McIntosh Street, CE 22030098.
Richard Pazmino, City of West Palm Beach Code Enforcement. This property was cited for trash can in public view. It was being stored in the front yard. Landscape areas must be grass. The front yard landscaped area is complete dirt, missing grass. And outdoor storage, the residents are keeping, there's a wire fence rolled up on the front lawn, and there was appliance and some junk scrap in the front. This property was cited March 5th. Certified mail was sent out March 7th. It was received March 11th. Regular mail was also sent, and this property and City Hall were posted on March 9th. I completed the affidavit of posting and submitted it. I have had no contact from the owner or residents at this property, and as of today, the only violation that has come into compliance is 7434A1H, trash can in public view. The other two violations remain. The city's recommending 30 additional days or $100 a day fine.
Officer Pazmino, the photographs that we've been reviewing during your testimony, do they fairly and accurately represent your observations of the violations in this case?
Yes, they do.
Thank you. Special Magistrate, the city would like to submit as evidence a copy of the notice of violation, certified mailing documents, affidavit of posting, and photographs.
That is granted. Those documents are made part of the record in this case. Lost my notes. Hang on, tell me which agenda item this is again.
24.
There it is. We already did 25. I got lost in there. Okay. Yeah, so trash cans came into compliance, but the other two remain outstanding. So the city has proper notice in this case. Based on the evidence, I do find that property has complied with City Code 7434A1H, but remains in violation of the other code sections that were cited in the notice. I will accept the city's recommendation for 30 additional days until for compliance. After that, daily fines of $100 per day will be assessed until compliance is achieved.
Thank you.
Number 26 is rescheduled, 123 South Olive Avenue, CE 22020062. Number 27 is complied, 710 44th Street, CE 22020302. Number 28 is complied, 718 43rd Street, CE 22020307. Number 29 is complied, Gardenia Street, CE 22030197. Number 30 is complied, 1903 Mercer Avenue, CE 22030214. Number 31, 4614 Pinewood Avenue, CE 22010397.
Number 31, right? Okay. Cassandra St. Hilaire on behalf of Code Officer Natalie Clark. Property was cited January 27, 2022. Certified mail was sent January 28th, and certified mail was received on February 7th. Property and City Hall were posted January 28th. Property was cited for 9442A and 9471C. At this time, the property has complied with code sections 9442A for the unpaid parking, and the city's recommending 15 days or $50 a day until compliance is achieved.
For the outdoor storage?
I did not hear you. I'm
That's
sorry.
just for the outdoor storage?
Yes, sir.
Got it.
Officer, does the record reflect that regular mail was also sent?
Yes.
And does the record reflect that the officer had completed an affidavit of posting, and is that in the file?
Yes, she did.
And did you have an opportunity to inspect this property as well?
Yeah, the last couple of pictures you will see are dating from, I believe, March 30th to the April 4th pictures. They were taken by myself.
Okay. And do those pictures accurately and fairly represent your observations regarding either the violations on the property or those violations brought into compliance?
Yes, ma'am.
Special Magistrate, the city would like to submit as evidence a copy of the notice of violation, certified mailing documents, affidavit of posting, and all photographs.
And as granted, those documents are made part of the record in this case. The city has proper notice with the received certified mail. Based on the testimony and the evidence, I will find the property remains in violation of City Code 9471C regarding outdoor storage, but has complied with City Code 94482A regarding parking requirements. I'll accept the city's recommendation, allow 15 additional days to cure the outstanding violation. After that, $50 per day will be assessed until compliance is achieved.
Number 32, 917 39th Street, CE 22030019.
Code Officer Cassandra St. Hilaire, I'm here on behalf of Code Officer Natalie Clark. This property was cited on March 1st, 2022. Property and City Hall were posted March 3rd. Certified mail.
Okay.
Certified mail was sent out March 4th, 2022. Just a second here. Property was cited for failure to obtain a rental license and certificate of use. At this time, the city is recommending 30 days or $200 a day until compliance is achieved.
Officer, is there a record in the file?
I think that's the wrong
I'm sorry.
address. The wrong photograph that's up. Yeah. That's the right picture for 32? Sorry. Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm sorry, Arlene.
Officer, does the record reflect that regular mail was also sent?
Yes, ma'am.
And in the file, is there a completed affidavit of posting?
Yes, ma'am.
And
I just want to put on record for the rental license, there is a note that Officer Clark, she did inspect the unit, but they failed. They had corrections that needed to be made that were not corrected as of yet.
is it your testimony that Officer Clark would have only inspected the unit because they had submitted a rental license application?
Yes, there is a rental license application in the system. They just failed at
Excellent, thank you.
inspections.
Thank you.
No problem.
And did you take any of these photographs?
Yes, I took these photographs. I also contacted the property owner, but I did not get a call back, so.
And do the photographs accurately represent the violations in the case that cause it to fail the inspection?
I'm not quite sure as to why Officer Clark failed the inspection, but she did put a note that she did do interior inspections. I just took those photographs just to depict that there were tenants in the unit, and I don't know if they were evicted or what, but as you can see, some of the items were put out.
Thank you. Special Magistrate, the city would like to submit as evidence the notice of violation, certified mailing documents, affidavit of posting, and photographs.
That is granted. Those documents are made part of the record. City has proper notice in this case, even though the respondent is not present. Based on the testimony and the evidence, I find the property remains in violation as cited. I'll accept the city's recommendation, allow 30 additional days to cure the violations. After that, daily fines of $200 per day will be assessed until compliance is achieved.
Number 33, 930 43rd Street, CE 22030020.
Cassandra St. Hilaire, on behalf of Code Officer Natalie Clark. This property was cited March 1st, 2022. Certified mail was sent out March 4th. The property and City Hall were posted March 3rd. Property was cited for code sections 18162A and 2232A. At this time, the city is recommending 30 days or $200 per day. I did get in contact with this property owner as well as Officer Clark prior to her leaving. The owner did ask for the additional time to, she failed inspections as well with Officer Clark, so she just asked for additional time to get everything in order.
So in your communication with the owner, she did not contest that she was renting?
No, she did not. She just, like I said, she failed her inspections with Officer Clark and just needed the time to get it up to city standards.
Thank you. Does the record reflect that regular mail was also sent?
Yes, ma'am.
Does the record reflect that an affidavit of posting was completed and in the file?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you take any of the photographs that we've been reviewing?
Yes, ma'am. I took all the photographs.
And do those photographs accurately and fairly represent your observations?
Yeah, it just shows that there's a tenant there, a vehicle.
All right. And thank you. Special Magistrate, the city would like to submit as evidence a copy of the notice of violation, certified mailing documents, affidavit of posting, and photographs.
That is granted. Those documents are made part of the record in this case. The city has proper notice, even though the respondent is not present. Based on testimony and the evidence, I will find the property remains in violation as cited. I'll accept the city's recommendation to require compliance within 30 days. After that, daily fines of $200 per day will be assessed until compliance is achieved.
Number 35, 806 39th Street, CE 22030183.
Cassandra St. Hilaire, on behalf of Code Officer Natalie Clark. This property was cited March 10th. Certified mail was sent out March 17th. The property and City Hall were posted March 11th. Property was cited for 34102B and 7434A1H. At this time, Code Section 7434A1H, the garbage can placement has complied. For the remaining violation, the city is recommending 15 days or $50 per day until compliance is achieved.
Was that the vehicle with the expired registration?
Yes, sir.
Officer, does the record reflect that regular mail was also sent?
Yes, ma'am.
Does the record reflect that an affidavit of posting was completed and in the file?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you take any of the photographs that we've been reviewing during your testimony?
Yes, the photographs from March 30th and up until, I think, April 4th or something were all taken by myself.
And do those photographs accurately represent the observations you made on the property?
Yes, ma'am.
Special Magistrate, the city would like to submit as evidence a copy of the notice of violation, certified mailing documents, affidavit of posting, and all photographs.
That is granted. Those documents are made part of the record. The city has proper notice, even though the respondent is not present. Based on testimony and evidence, I will find the property remains in violation of City Code 34102B, but has complied with City Code 7434A1H regarding the trash can. I will accept the city's recommendation, require compliance within 15 days. After that, daily fines of $50 per day are assessed until compliance is achieved.
Number 36, 4024 Greenwood Avenue, CE 22030212.
Cassandra St. Hilaire, on behalf of Code Officer Natalie Clark. This property was cited March 11, 2022. Certified mail was signed for March 17, 2022. Property was cited for 7434A1H, 94482A, and 9471C. All violations still remain. The city's recommending an additional 15 days or $50 a day until compliance is achieved.
I'm sorry, I may have missed it. Officer, is there indication that regular mail was sent?
Yes, ma'am.
And was property in City Hall posted?
No, it was not, but the notice of violation was signed for on March 17, 2022.
Okay. Is there an affidavit of posting completed and in the file?
There wasn't a posting.
So there's no affidavit at all?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And did you make observation of this property?
Yes, ma'am. The latter part of the pictures from April up until, from late March up until April was taken by myself and also Officer Watkins, just showing that the violations still remain. As a matter of fact, I believe the property owner did reach out to Codes manager, asking for some additional time to get the items done as well.
So is it your testimony that the trash can is still in public view?
Yes, ma'am.
And what is your testimony in regards to what's going on with the parking and what are you seeing in storage that's outside?
As you can see by some of the initial pictures that were taken by Officer Clark, the vehicle was on the actual property, parking on paved surfaces. And what they did was take the vehicle and move it to the vacant lot right next to it. But we do know that the vehicle belongs to the tenant in that unit.
And is that the gray sedan?
Yeah.
Gray sports car?
Yeah.
Whatever it is, okay.
And as the outdoor storage in front of the property, they just had a lot of items laid out. I'm not sure exactly what they are, but as stated, that he did reach out, he or she, I'm not sure, the property owner did reach out, stating that they just would need an additional 10 days to get the items done and be in compliance.
Thank
But
you.
We're opting for 15 days instead.
Thank you. Special Magistrate, the city would like to submit as evidence a copy of the notice of violation, certified mailing documents, and all photographs.
Okay, that is granted. Those documents are made part of the record with the signed certified mail. The city has proper notice, even though the respondent is not present. Based on the testimony and the evidence, I will find the property remains in violation as cited. I'll accept the city's recommendation, allow 15 additional days to comply after that, daily fines. Can't read my own writing. Was it $50 a day?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, until compliance is achieved.
Thank you.
Number 37, 4177 North Haverhill Road, 814 CE 22020205.
Good morning, City of West Palm Beach Code Compliance Officer Paul McFarland. On February 11th, the property at 4177 North Haverhill Road, Unit 814, was cited for rental license violation certificate of use. The property, as well as City Hall, was posted. Affidavit of posting is attached in case history. On February 18th, certified mail was sent. February 14th, 2022. Certified mail was signed for February 16th. Regular mail was also sent. I have been in contact with the property owner. He has since submitted the application for the rental license and paid the fees, but we have not accomplished an inspection. With that being said, I want to scratch that from the record. The property was inspected, but there are some repairs that need to be completed, so it has failed inspection. I have been conversing back and forth with the property owner. He needs additional time to get the repairs completed, because he has to gain access to the unit to get these repairs completed and give notice to the tenant. So with that being said, city's recommending 45 days to complete all inspections, obtain rental license and certificate of use, or a fine of $200 a day be assessed until compliance is achieved.
Officer McFarland, we've been reviewing just a brief amount of photos during your testimony, and do those photos reflect the posting of the notice that was done in this?
Correct.
Case? Thank you. Special Magistrate, the city would like to submit as evidence a copy of the notice of violation, certified mailing documents, affidavit of posting, and photographs.
That is granted. Those documents are made part of the record. With the certified mail that was signed for, the city has proper notice, even though the respondent is not present. Based on the testimony and the evidence, I will find the property remains in violation as cited. I'll allow 15 additional days for compliance. After that, daily fines of $200 per day until compliance is achieved.
Number 38, 1401 Village Boulevard, 1028 CE 22020283.
Good morning, City of West Palm Beach Code Compliance Officer Paul McFarland. On February 17th, I received a complaint from the tenant at 1401 Village Boulevard, Unit 1028, of no hot water. Upon my further investigation, I've found other violations of rental license violation and certificate of use, as well as no hot water. Property as well as City Hall was posted affidavit in case attached on February 24th. Certified mail was sent February 18th. Certified mail was returned February 24th. I've had no contact with the property owner. I have been in contact with the tenant as soon as of yesterday. He did verbalize with me that the hot water has returned. So city's recommending compliance of that violation. So the only thing that stands is the rental violation and certificate of use. The city's recommending 30 days to bring the property into compliance, or $200 a day until compliance is achieved.
Officer, was regular mail also sent?
Yes, ma'am.
And the affidavit that you testified to, is that the affidavit of posting?
Yes, ma'am.
And the photograph that we're reviewing of the posting, is that for this particular property?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Special Magistrate, the city would like to submit, there's also a photograph of the hot water heater, and that's for this particular property as well.
As granted, those documents are made part of the record in this case. City has proper notice even though the respondent is not present. Based on the testimony and the evidence, I find property has complied with City Code 1879-8 but remains in violation of the other code sections cited in the notice. I will accept the city's recommendation, allow 30 additional days for compliance. After that, daily fines of $200 per day will be assessed until compliance is achieved.
Number 39, 911 Village Boulevard, 801 CE 22020291.
Good morning, City of West Palm Beach Code Compliance Officer Paul McFarland. On February 18th, the business at 911 Village Boulevard, Unit 801, which is Torres's Mexican Restaurant, was cited for business tax receipt and certificate of use. The property as well as the business was posted in City Hall. Affidavit of posting is attached on February 24th. Certified mail was sent on February 26th, and regular mail sent to the property owner as well as the tenant, which is Torres Mexican Restaurant. Certified mail was received February 24th. I have made contact with the property owner as well as the tenant, Torres Mexican Restaurant. They do have a business tax receipt, but it's been expired for the past 6 months. I did verbalize to the property manager of what's occurring on the property. I also had a conversation with one of the employees at the restaurant what needed to take place. This is a reoccurring theme with this business. I had the same issue last year, no dissent. then the license was paid. This year, does it seem to be sinking in? So this is why the city is recommending 15 days for a one-time fine of $250 for the business tax receipt and $100 a day to run on the COU until the business is brought into compliance. I went as far as to mail out a screenshot of the delinquent license, as well as steps to cure that license, but it seems to be falling on deaf ears. It's a thriving business, but it's just horrible bookkeeping.
Officer McFarland, the snapshot of the business tax receipt status that you talked about sending, is that the same snapshot that we're reviewing here on the screen at this moment?
Yes, ma'am, and that's the same snapshot I reviewed this morning before hearing.
Thank you. Special Magistrate, the city would like to submit as evidence a copy of the notice of violation, certified mailing documents, affidavit of posting, the snapshots of the status of the business tax receipt, as well as the photographs that we've been reviewing that show posting at the site.
As granted, those documents are made part of the record. With this received certified mail, the city has proper notice, even though the respondent is not present. Based on the testimony and the evidence, I do find the property remains in violation as cited. Okay, for the business tax receipt, 82,144, I'll allow 15 days to comply. After that, a one-time fine of $250 will be assessed. For the certificate of use violation, 2232A, again, respondent has 15 days to comply. After that, daily fines of $100 per day will be assessed until compliance is achieved.
Number 41 is complied, 523 32nd Street, CE 220200318. Number 42, 4187 North Haverhill Road, number 513, CE 220200325.
Good morning, City of West Palm Beach Code Compliance Officer Paul McFarland. On February 23rd, the property at 4187 North Haverhill Road, Unit 513, was cited for rental license violation and certificate of use. The property, as well as City Hall, was posted and affidavit attached to case on February 28th. Certified mail and regular mail was sent February 24th. Certified mail was returned March 31st. I have since been in contact with the property manager of this property. They have submitted an application for rental license and paid all fees, but we have not accomplished an inspection of the unit. With that being said, city is recommending 30 days to bring the property into compliance, or $200 a day until compliance is achieved.
Special Magistrate, the city would like to submit as evidence a copy of the notice of violation, certified mailing documents, affidavit of posting, as well as the photographs that confirm posting as well.
That is granted. Those documents are made part of the record. With the posting and the return certified mail, the city has proper notice, even though the respondent is not present. Based on the testimony and the evidence, I do find the property remains in violation as cited. I'll accept the city's recommendation, allow 30 additional days for compliance. After that, daily fines of $200 per day will be assessed until compliance is achieved.
Number 43, 1042 The Point Drive, CE 220200359.
Good morning, City of West Palm Beach Code Compliance Officer Paul McFarland. On February 25th, the property at 1042 The Point Drive was cited for a rental license violation and certificate of use. The property was posted and hand-delivered and posted at City Hall, and affidavit of posting attached to case on March 21st. Certified mail was sent March 1st. Certified mail was received. I have been in contact with the property manager. He has since submitted an application for the rental license, but no fees have been paid or inspections completed. With that being said, city is recommending 30 days to bring the property into full compliance, or $200 a day until compliance is achieved.
Special Magistrate, the city would like to submit as evidence a copy of the notice of violation, certified mailing documents, affidavit of posting, and photographs of posting.
As granted, those documents are made part of the record. With the received certified mail, the city has proper notice in this case. Based on the testimony and the evidence, I do find the property remains in violation as cited. I will accept the city's recommendation, allow 30 additional days to comply. After that, daily fines of $200 per day will be assessed until compliance is achieved.
Thank you.
Number 44 is rescheduled, 906 4th Street, CE 21120079. Number 45 is rescheduled, 807 Handy Avenue, CE 211-20242. Number 46, 821 9th Street, CE 211-20273.
Officer Luster, West Palm Code. This property was initially started on 12/21/2021. Certified mail was received on 12/24/2021. Property was posted on 3/10/2022. This property was initially cited for a rental license, certificate of use, junk, inoperable vehicle, overgrowth, evidence of engaging in business, landscaping of swell, unpaved parking, prohibited trailer on property, and outdoor storage. And I had an inspection set with the property owner on 2/11/2022 for the rental inspection. This property is consistent of 3 units on one property. It's a duplex and a single family. The single family is in the front of the property. The duplex was inspected. The single family, the tenant refused me entry, and so I had not been able to inspect that property. The duplex actually did fail its inspection. One unit failed because it did not have running water, and they have security bars on the windows, and they do have the breakaway bars, but the locks were rusted and locked in place. So he had to get those issues taken care of. The unit that didn't have water running, that tenant actually moved out. So once that inspection failed, I failed the whole property for other violations, landscaping, unpaved parking. Once that happened, then the tenant in the single family called with a complaint in regards to the plumbing issue, which is 18103G. And it only pertains to that particular unit on that property. And from that point, the owner was refused to have entry to take care of the plumbing problem. So it became an issue between the tenant and the owner. I spoke with the owner this morning. He has had the opportunity to go in and fix the plumbing problem, and I explained to him that I will still have to go in and verify it myself, that all of the violations have been taken care of, and I did verify that the unit that had no water running, he has a new tenant in it, and the water is turned on in that tenant's name. So that particular part of the violation was complied. However, he's going to need 90 days because it's still an issue with the single-family unit gaining access to do other things that needs to be done on the property. He still needs to landscape the property. He still needs to get the security window bars taken care of, and the junk abandoned vehicles, the overgrowth, the landscaping, and the outdoor storage is all contributed to the single-family unit that I have no access to. He has filed for the eviction, and the lease is up May 1. So we're hoping to get in the unit after May 1.
Okay.
So I'm asking for the 90 days. He asked for the 90 days or $100 per day after. And all of those pictures depict that problem.
So 18103G is now complied?
No, I
No,
haven't
it's just
verified
in
it.
the, not in the, nothing's complied in the single family.
Right, nothing's
Okay,
complied
I
other
got it.
than the water in the one unit that was
Right.
not on.
Okay,
So I haven't verified any of that.
okay.
Officer, I'm sorry, was there also 18106A, clean and sanitary, trash and debris?
All still outstanding violations.
And is that because there's trash and debris, or is it pressure cleaning the driveway and sidewalk, or all of that?
All of it.
Okay, thank you. And the photographs that we've been reviewing during your testimony, do those fairly and accurately
Yes.
represent your observations of the violations on the property?
Yes, ma'am.
Was regular mail also sent?
Regular mail, certified and posting, and affidavit of posting.
And for the posting, that was both, that was City Hall as well,
Yes,
correct?
ma'am.
Thank you. Special Magistrate, the city would like to submit as evidence a copy of the notice of violation, affidavit of posting, certified mail documents, and all photographs.
That is granted. Those documents are all made part of the record in this case. Based on the testimony, well, first of all, the city does have proper notice with the received certified mail, even though the respondent is not present. Based on the testimony and the evidence, I will find that the property remains in violation as cited. We'll accept the city's recommendation, allow an additional 90 days for compliance. After that, daily fines of $100 per day will be assessed until compliance is achieved.
Thank you.
Number 48, 1020 North Tamron Avenue, CE 211020276.
Officer Luster, West Palm Code. This property initiated case was on 12/22/2021. Certified mail was signed on 12/24/2021. Posting City Hall and property on 3/16/2022. I've had no contact with the business owner. However, I have had conversations and been contacted by the CRA. This property is scheduled, it's under contract with the CRA to have a total redo. And the CRA is asking for 1 year or $100 per after.
1 year, you said?
It's cited for exterior rotten wood. It's a lot of replacement of rotten wood, painting of building, clean and sanitary conditions of pressure cleaning of sidewalk, and dumpster enclosure.
Officer, was regular mail also sent?
Yes, ma'am.
And was an affidavit of posting completed and in the file?
Yes, ma'am.
And the photographs that we've been seeing, are those a fair and accurate depiction of your observations of the violations on the property?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Special Magistrate, the city would like to submit as evidence a copy of the notice of violation, certified mailing documents, affidavit of posting, and photographs.
That is granted. Those documents are made part of the record. With the signed certified mail, the city has proper notice. Based on the testimony and the evidence, find the property remains in violation as cited. Given the status of this as a CRA project, I have no objection granting the request for 1 year compliance. But after that, there would be daily fines of $100 per day.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, we have 5 more regular cases. Number 49 is complied, 1346 11th Street, CE 2112021. Number 50, 710 7th Street, CE 220100104.
Officer Luster, West Palm Code. This case started on 1/7/2022. Certified mail was returned to us on 1/13/2022. City Hall and property was posted on 3/15/2022. I've had no contact with owner, and the property was cited for cleaning unsanitary condition of driveway and sidewalk, pressure cleaning and painting of building, trash, litter, and debris on property and swell, maintaining landscaping, rental license and certificate of use, garbage, debris, and overgrowth, cleaning up 1/2 of easement in the rear of the property, numbering standards and disrepair, evidence of engaging in business, no rental license, landscaping of swell and parkway, and landscape maintenance. All violations remain outstanding. I'm asking for 90 days or $100 per day, and the property looks exactly like it looks.
Officer, was regular mail sent as well?
Yes, ma'am.
Was an affidavit of posting completed and in the file?
Yes, ma'am.
And with respect to, could you describe very briefly your observations regarding the landscaping and the garbage debris?
There is technically no landscaping. It's more dirt than anything else. It's always garbage and trash thrown about this property and on our swells. And the driveway and sidewalk is in need of cleaning. And the building is also in need of pressure cleaning and painting.
Thank you. The photographs that we've been seeing during your testimony, do they fairly and accurately represent your observations of the violations on the property?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Special Magistrate, the city would like to submit as evidence a copy of the notice of violation, certified mailing documents, affidavit of posting, and photographs.
That is granted. Those documents are made part of the record. With the posting following the return certified mail, the city has proper notice. Based on the testimony and the evidence, I will find the property remains in violation as cited. I accept the city's recommendation, allow 90 additional days to cure the outstanding violations. After that, daily fines of $100 per day are assessed until compliance is achieved.
Thank you.
Number 51, 705 7th Street, CE 220101111.
Officer Luster, West Palm Code. This property was cited on 1/7/2022. Certified mail was returned to us on 2/14/2022. City Hall and property was posted on 3/15/2022. I've had no contact with property owner. Property was cited for clean and unsanitary condition of cleaning sidewalk and wall, and excessive growth, junk, inoperable vehicle, box truck, trash can, in public view, overgrowth, cleaning up, obstruction of right-of-way, overgrown hedges, trees, cleaning up one part of easement in the rear of the property, obstruction of right-of-way. The trees are so overgrown, you literally have to bend down to walk down that sidewalk. And address characters, and pressure cleaning of the wall, landscape maintenance, removal of the prohibited vehicle, and outdoor storage. I have no contact with the owner. What has come into compliance is cleaning up one half of easement, numbering standards, and that's it. Everything else is outstanding. I'm asking for 30 days for the removal of the prohibited vehicle and 10 days on the remaining violations that are outstanding, and $50 per day if not complied.
50, did you say?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Officer, was regular mail also sent?
Yes, ma'am.
Was an affidavit of posting completed and in the file?
Yes, ma'am.
With respect to the box truck, that is the junk or abandoned vehicle?
Yes, ma'am.
And is that junk because it has no tag?
It has no tag. It does not run. It's literally sitting on 4 flat tires and no tag, but, it's just inoperable. It's prohibited.
And is that also the same vehicle that should be removed because it's prohibited?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And the photographs that we've been reviewing while you've testified, do those fairly and accurately represent the violations that you've observed on the property?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Special Magistrate, the city would like to submit as evidence a copy of the notice of violation, certified mailing documents, affidavit of posting, and photographs.
That request is granted. Those documents are made part of the record in this case. The city has proper notice with the posting following the return certified mail, even though a respondent is not present. Based on the testimony and the evidence, I find the property remains in violation as cited, with the exception of City Code 74-4C5 regarding cleaning up to the center of the right-of-way, and 78-6 regarding numbering standards. All other violations remain. For the violation of 34-102A regarding the vehicle, will allow 30 additional days to comply. After that, daily fines of $50 per day will be assessed until compliance is achieved. For all other violations, I will allow 10 days to comply. After that, daily fines of $50 per day will also be assessed until compliance is achieved.
Thank you.
Number 53, 1210 Palm Beach Lakes Boulevard, CE 220100304.
Officer Luster, West Palm Code. This property was cited due to a complaint from utilities in regards to the water meters unable to be accessed. And the case started on 1/24/2022. Certified mail was received on 1/31/2022. We also put out another certified letter because I added something to this case. It was also received on 2/14/2022. Property in City Hall was posted on 3/18/2022. The property was cited for excessive growth, cleaning and unsanitary conditions, overgrowth, cleaning up easement in the rear of the property of overgrowth, cleaning up 1/2 of easement in the rear of the property, landscape contractor removal of all debris, and fence maintenance. I've had no contact with this property owner, and I'm asking for 30 days or $100 per day. Utilities have informed me that they have not maintained that fence, or they're still not able to access the water meters at this time.
Officer, with respect to the most recent notice of violation, was that also sent by regular mail?
Yes, ma'am.
And with respect to the most recent notice of violation, was an affidavit of posting also completed and in the file?
Yes, ma'am.
And while you've been testifying, we've been reviewing photographs. Do those photographs fairly and accurately represent your observations of the violations on this property?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Special Magistrate, the city would like to submit as evidence a copy of the notice of violation, certified mailing documents, affidavit of posting, and photographs.
All right, thank you. That request is granted. Those documents are made part of the record. With the received certified mail, the city has proper notice, even though the respondent is not present. Based on the testimony and the evidence, I will find the property remains in violation as cited. I will accept the city's recommendation, allow 30 additional days to comply. After that, daily fines of $100 per day are assessed until compliance is achieved.
Thank you.
Number 54, 1352 6th Street, CE 22010323.
Officer Luster, West Palm Code. This property was cited initially on 1/25/2022. Certified mail was received on 1/28/2022. Property in City Hall was posted on 3/14/2022. I've had no contact with the property owner, but I have had contact with the vehicle owner. And the property was cited for clean and unsanitary conditions, junk and operable vehicle, and junk and operable vehicle not in an enclosed area. I'm asking for 15 days or $50 per day after. And all violations still outstanding, remaining.
Officer, was regular mail also sent?
Yes, ma'am.
Was an affidavit of posting completed and in the file?
Yes, ma'am.
With respect to the photographs that we've been reviewing during your testimony, is the vehicle that you talk about the one that's under a tarp?
Yes, ma'am.
And what is it about the trash and debris that exists that's out of violation?
It's just things that's around the property. Some of you can tell it's around the car itself, and some things on the front porch.
And how is it that the vehicle is junk or
It's a
abandoned?
wrecked vehicle. It's inoperable.
And the photographs that we have been reviewing, do those fairly and accurately represent your observations of the violations on the property?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Special Magistrate, the city would like to submit as evidence a copy of the notice of violation, certified mailing documents, affidavit of posting, and photographs.
Request is granted. Those documents are made part of the record. With the received certified mail, the city has proper notice. Based on the testimony and the evidence, I will find property remains in violation as cited. Will accept the city's recommendation, require compliance within 15 days. After that, daily fines of $50 per day are assessed until compliance is achieved.
Thank you.
Number 55, 814 North Rosemary Avenue, CE 22010420.
Officer Luster, West Palm Code. This property was initially cited on 1/28/2022. Certified mail was returned to us on 2/5/2022. Property in City Hall was posted on 3/16/2022. I have spoke with the owner on 3/3/2022, and the property was cited for non-residential painting, clean and sanitary conditions, landscape maintenance, overgrowth, cleaning up 1/2 of easement, landscape removal of all waste, and prohibited signage. on property. The prohibited signs have been removed, so that's complied. The property owner is trying to get a demo permit on this property, but has not, he said he's gonna file for it, but he has not filed for the demo permit. So I'm asking for 90 days or $100 per day. He has brought into compliance the overgrowth and cleaned up one half of easement.
So the overgrowth and the portable signs are complied.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Officer, was regular mail also sent?
Yes, ma'am.
Was an affidavit of posting completed and in the file?
Yes, ma'am.
Could you briefly describe your observations with respect to what you're talking about on the painting, the trash and debris, and
The building is just in disrepair in workmanlike fashion in regards to the painting. It's in need of painting. The trash and debris is always a constant problem. So I've gotten the owner to at least agree to try to keep that part maintained. So that's it.
And then what do you, can you describe briefly the landscape waste? Is that still outstanding?
That's when a contractor goes to the property itself and they must remove the waste themselves, not put it out for service for pickup from the city.
And we've been reviewing photographs while you're testifying. Do those photographs fairly and accurately represent your observations of the violations on the property?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Special Magistrate, the city would like to submit as evidence a copy of the notice of violation, certified mailing documents, affidavit of posting, and photographs.
That request is granted. Those documents are made part of the record. The city has proper notice with posting following the return of certified mail, even though the respondent is not present. Based on the testimony and the evidence, I do find the property remains in violation as cited, with the exception of City Code 74-4C3 regarding overgrowth and City Code 94-402B.2-5 regarding portable signs. Those code sections have complied. I will allow 90 additional days to cure the outstanding violations. After that, daily fines of $100 per day are assessed until compliance is achieved.
Thank you. Y'all have a good day.
And lastly, number 56 is complied, 1329 11th Street, CE 22020071.
All right. That is it for the 9 o'clock agenda. Does anybody need a brief recess before we continue on, or are we good to go? We're good, okay. Welcome to the 11:30 lien or fine reduction agenda. If you're here for one of those cases and you plan on speaking to me, your testimony needs to be sworn, so I need to place you under oath. I can place everyone under oath who's going to be testifying at the same time, so if you'll please stand, raise your right hands. If you'll be testifying, I'll swear you in. Thank you. Do each of you swear or affirm under penalties of perjury that your testimony today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you. You can all have a seat. When your case is called, please come up to the podium to my right. City will make a presentation at the podium to my left to give me some background information on the case. Once City's concluded its presentation and made any recommendations on the request, I will then come back to you. You'll be able to tell me about the request for the reduction. If you have any documents or photographs or anything that you want to show me that's relevant to that request, that will be the time to produce those. Once I've heard everything from both sides, in all likelihood, I will enter an order today that resolves the matter. I believe we'll be taking the cases in the order that folks signed up. So with that, let's go ahead and get the first case going.
Number 1412 39th Street, CE 191100053.
Erica, we're gonna go with, I'm sorry. No, we're gonna go with 918 and 912. Both of those are stipulations.
Okay.
Yeah.
Number 1 and 2 is that?
1, 2, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Number 1 and 2, 918 33rd Street, CE 191200168 and CE 201000151. And that's also what else? What other address?
918 33rd, right?
Just that one?
Yeah, and
Okay.
then the next one.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry. So KCE 191200168. was cited for failure to obtain a rental license, COU, certificate of use, and junk vehicle, resulting in a lien amount of $91,400. And case CE 2010050 was cited for clean and sanitary and outdoor storage, resulting in a lien amount of $18,200, totaling to a lien amount of $109,600. After passing all inspections, including all other debt owed to the city, the representative for this property offered the city a settlement of $15,000, to which the city agreed to. That's it. Oh, that's, so an 86% reduction.
I think in the years I've been a magistrate, this is the first time I've had a stipulation here. Do I have to sign off on anything, or is it just announcing it for the record?
We just need to have the respondent put his name on the record and indicate whether or not he has agreed, as the city indicates.
Okay.
And then you would just sign as you normally would.
Okay. Sir, if you go ahead and put your name and address on the record, and I guess just acknowledging the stipulated agreement that you've entered into with the city.
Okay. Yeah, I'm Alex Seahaver, and I'm the representative for the homeowner. I provided Cassandra with the lien reduction designation affidavit. So.
Okay. Do you have any questions or?
And how is it that you are the representative of the owner, and is the owner, and what is the name of the owner?
Yeah, the owner is out of the country. Her name is Limor Berger Magazanik, I believe is how you pronounce the last name. And I'm a real estate agent that's just been trying to help her through the process. So I've been working with her and her attorney.
And you have authorization from her to resolve the case?
I do, yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you're in agreement with the
Correct.
city's
Yeah, with the
indication of $15,000 to resolve both of these cases. Is that accurate?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Great, thanch you very much.
And I think the only other thing, I don't know if it's stipulated in there, the timeline to pay the $15,000.
Oh, yes. How much time did you need?
I mean, we can pay it immediately if you want to put 30 days, that's
30
fine. I
days.
know she's prepared to pay it as soon as the order's entered.
All right, 30
Thank you.
days.
And Special Magistrate, you would still enter your normal lien reduction order indicating, $15,000 in 30 days.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's all I got.
Is that grant? And
So-
you approve, you adopt?
Affirmed, ratified. I will sign the appropriate order. Encourage this type of work all the time. I like when you guys work it out.
There was something you
Thank
needed
you.
me to sign, correct?
First one, part 1 and 2.
Was there something I needed to sign?
Yeah, no? Okay. I'm sorry, this is our first time doing this, too.
Erica, you would have the order that you
I
would?
don't have a stipulation.
No, it's just that he offered 15,000 and the city agreed.
So we're
and
just entering an order, there's no actual written stipulation?
Correct.
Okay.
So you'll get an order that memorializes the agreement, including the amount and the time frame to pay it.
Okay, great.
I guess that you can. That's your copy. Yes. You're welcome. Number 14, 1412 39th Street, CE 1911005.
Now we gotta do number 3, 4. Sorry. And number 3, 4, and 5, same thing.
Okay.
Sorry, guys.
No problem. Numbers 3, 4, and 5 for 912 North Sapadilla Avenue, CE 08110309, CE 100900075, and CE 12040275.
Yes. KCE 08110309 was cited for broken windows and doors, overgrowth, fence repair, and landscape maintenance, resulting in a lien amount of $1,750. KCE 100900075 was cited for trash and debris, overgrowth, and as a repeat violation, totaling to a lien amount of $3,000. KCE 12040275 was cited for boarding certificate and securing the vacant property, resulting in a lien amount of $334,600. Meeting all requirements set forth in the lien reduction packet, the property owner opted to offer the city a settlement of $6,500, to which the city accepted.
And is that, you said 6,500?
Yes, ma'am.
And that's to resolve all three cases?
All three cases.
Okay.
All right, sir, if you go ahead and put your name and address on the record and just verify the agreement with the city.
Good afternoon. My name is Chris Posner. I'm here on behalf of the owner, Janetta Wilson. Ms. Wilson does approve and accept the offer of $6,500 and has provided me with a cashier's check to pay right away if possible.
Special magistrate, so the parties have agreed to the 6,500, and just in an abundance of caution, if you would approve 30 days.
That is approved, $6,500 payable within 30 days for the three cases that were called into the record, and I will sign the appropriate order.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now, can we go to agenda item 4?
Yeah. Okay. Number 14, again, number 14's address is 1412 39th Street, CE 19110053. Sorry about that.
Yeah. Number 14. No problem. Case CE 1910053 was cited November 4th, 2019. The property was cited for excessive overgrowth watering certificate, driveway repair, and egress. On November 20th, 2019, the special magistrate ordered 30 days or $100 a day to comply with code sections 9482A, driveway repair. The property was out of compliance for 45 days, resulting in a lien amount of $4,500. The applicant is the owner who caused the violation. The city is seeking 50%. Same owner. No, well, they sold the property.
There was incorrect information given on that. You only gave 15 days for compliance.
All right, just give me, I'll promise, like I said, I will get to you. Let me. Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to put, the property was recently sold, 1412 39th Street.
Okay. All right, sir, go ahead and put your name and address on the record, and then you can proceed.
David P. Mattson, trustee of the Verner T. Mattson Living Trust.
Yes, sir.
I'm Daniel Mattson, his brother.
All right, go ahead.
I'd like to first begin by saying at no time did I intentionally try not to comply or delay. Initially, we thought, all the minor items were taken care of immediately. The shutters on the windows and the landscaping, that was taken care of immediately. The driveway, initially we thought repair would be satisfactory, and after talking to several people, they said the best solution was just a complete replacement. So I struggled to find the right contractor. I did finally, and on December 3rd, I attempted to sign the contract, leave a deposit, and he said, okay, this is good, where's your survey? That was the first time that I was told that I had to provide a survey so that he could go through the permitting process. So that delayed about another week. I went back to the contractor with the survey and left a 50% deposit, paid a expedite fee for the permit, and told them that our time was of essence, that we were already slightly beyond the deadline that the city had set. He said, okay, no problem. After a week or so, I called asking about the permit, and he says, we're on break for Christmas and New Year's. So he says, I can't do anything. I said, well, I paid an expedite fee, and he said, well, I'm sorry, we're closed down for 2 weeks. So finally, I believe he applied for the permit on
January
January 8th. And the driveway was completed February 6th. The permit was closed February 7th. And the next day, I called the code enforcement officer and said, the driveway is in, it looks good, we're good to go, right? And I never heard anything back, so I figured we were okay. So it was my negligence for not following up and getting authorization that we had been in default for whatever the time period is. So again, it was never my intent to not comply, and I would ask your forgiveness for most of the remaining lien.
All right, thank you, sir. Anything else from the city?
Yeah, I just want to say, just as I previously stated, the final inspection was on February 6th. That was 45 days that the property was out of compliance. So I know earlier they stated that that was incorrect, but that's what we went with, the final inspection that was done by the building department. So that's how long it took to get compliance.
What was the city's recommendation in this?
50%. The lien amount is $4,500.
Yeah,
Special Magistrate, may I ask one question?
you may.
Sir, in clarification, when you indicated that you submitted for an expedited permit and you were told that they were shut down for 2 weeks, was that your contractor you were talking to or the city?
The contractor.
Okay, thank you.
So I'd just like to fill one thing in there. She said 30 days for compliance.
Could you come closer to the microphone?
She said 30 days for compliance. I've got the letter here. There's only 15 days for compliance. And there's no way that you can get driveways, permits, surveys, all that stuff in 15 days.
Okay.
No, I think he's referring to the original NOV, the letter that was sent to him, but I'm referring to when it went to hearing, how long the magistrate gave him to get into compliance.
We never got notice of the hearing.
Yeah, if you look at we're not here to argue the case, but obviously it was sent to the proper address. If you pull up the case file, it will show that that's what the property appraisers had, and that's what we sent the notice to.
Because our property was never posted with a notice either.
It's in the case file.
Okay, well, you know, I'm not gonna,
We voluntarily complied. So, to find out that we had a $59,000 lien against the house and when we go to sell it, because of the title search, was a total surprise to us.
okay.
It's
It's
$4,500.
$4,500,
They told us when I initially called, it was $59,000.
which is why we're stating at the time when you called, we went back and we went with the final inspection, which was February 6th. The property was out of compliance 45 days after the magistrate's order. So we did go and honor that, the final inspection that was done by the building inspector.
Okay.
So
Anything
we are
else?
talking Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's. That all this was going over.
I
So,
got that. Okay. Case ending in 053. The lien is $4,500. Based on what I've heard, I'm convinced that you guys made a good faith effort to get this through. I'm going to reduce that to $500 payable within 30 days. Okay?
I'm good with that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I do have a question. Is a personal check okay? You need a bank check or a credit card?
You
What?
could speak to,
They just updated it. I'm not sure exactly what it is.
Is it paid to the cashier?
The cashier will let you know. The instructions to pay are on the bottom, and they'll let you know how you can pay. What
Yeah.
form of payment.
that's above my pay grade. I don't know the answer to that question.
Thank you, Special Magistrate.
Yes, sir. Have a good day. All right. Where to?
Number 7, 620 Palmetto Street, CE 21030547.
Okay. KCE 2103547 was cited March 27th, 2021 for excessive growth, trash and debris, landscape maintenance, trash can violation, and outdoor storage. The property was taken to hearing June 2nd. June 2nd, 2021, the special magistrate ordered 30 days, $100 a day to comply. The property was out of compliance for 85 days, resulting in a lien amount of $8,500. Due to the severity of these violations and the impact that it had on the community, the city is seeking 50%. What am I looking for? Oh, sorry, new owner.
Do I speak now, or?
Just wait one.
Okay, go ahead and tell me your name and address, sir, and then you can tell me about the request.
My name is Timothy Hairmant, 620 Palmetto Street. I am the recent purchaser of said property.
Okay.
There was an agreement between the deceased and the daughter of the deceased, who was to get the property through probate. There is a sister named Marcia DeWitt, who was notified of all these things, who had no right to the property. There was an argument between the daughter, who I was purchasing the property from, and the deceased's sister. I run the shop across the street. We saw the posting of it. I took care of the yard and everything like that. I did not know about the trash can. I never called, I never did anything, just because the yard was taken care of. I assumed everything was good. Then when we finally came to an agreement between all the parties involved, me being the purchaser, the daughter who had right to the property, and the sister of the deceased, she came to me with some paperwork and said, "Oh, you may want to take care of this." At that point, I immediately called the city. The inspector came out that day or the next day and said everything had been complied and closed the case. She said it didn't look like it had posted to you guys yet, but she wasn't sure. And that was when the stop happened, believe in somewhere around April. Then there was the $8,000 fine at that point. I would have done something sooner, but the city said I couldn't do anything until I owned the property. Once all the probate happened, I finally owned the property. I immediately started working on the day after it closed. I came down here, I paid the fines or the lien reduction stuff. It took a couple weeks or months or whatever it was for someone to come out and inspect. They told me I had to pressure wash. I pressure washed immediately that day. She came out and re-inspected the next day. Here we are today. Had I been notified, had Marcia Witt not, who apparently is a repeat offender according to the code violation person, it's not my intent not to comply. I understand. I live in the neighborhood, and there's some other houses in the neighborhood that I feel are much worse than a trash can visible from the street.
Okay. Was there any financial investment that you had to make to cure the violations once you took ownership?
No, once I took ownership, they came out and inspected and told me I had to pressure wash, and I pressure washed that day.
That was it? Okay.
That was it.
Okay.
Again, a trash can visible, the yard was taken care of immediately. Apparently, it was the trash can visible by the street and some chairs that were on the front porch, and when I was notified of that, I immediately took care of it, because that's a very easy thing to solve. $8,000 over a trash can $4,000 over a trash can seems exorbitant.
Okay, and you were the owner from January of this year is when
Yes,
you
sir.
took it? Okay. All right, thank you very much, sir. Anything else from the city?
Yeah, I just want to state that these fines didn't incur because of a trash can violation. If you were to look at the case, it was badly overgrown to the point where we were getting complaints from the neighbors about it, and it took quite a while for I guess, the previous owner to even get that cleared up. And like you said, until you acquired the property, that's when it got, but it wasn't because of just a trash can violation. It was severely overgrown. It was a lot going on the property. And also, I just want to state that Mr. Tim, he did acquire the property knowing, as we had conversations, that there were these fines on the property and that these had to be cured prior to him finally obtaining full ownership of the property. So the property was purchased with the knowledge of knowing that these fines exist.
Okay.
The deceased daughter was out of state. I was here taking care of the property. I had landscaper on it. I don't know when it was ever massively overgrown. And, you know, I understand it is what it is, and I was the deceased, the daughter couldn't do anything from where she was. I was put in charge of doing it. I reached out to the city trying to get this closed before I bought the property, and they said, there's nothing you can do unless you own it, is what I was told. So then I owned it, and here we stand today.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Anything else from the city?
That is all.
Okay. So this is the case ending in 547. The lien amount is $8,500. I'm also going to reduce this one to $500 payable within 30 days.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And I can go to the cashier at this point today?
I think so, right across the hall that way.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Number 6, 123 Detour Street, CE 18020511.
Case CE 180205111 was cited February 28, 2018 for failure to obtain a building permit and required inspections. The property was taken to hearing on March 21, 2018. The property was ordered 60 days or $500 a day until compliance is achieved. The property was out of compliance for 688 days, resulting in a lien amount of $344,000. The city is seeking 10%, which is a 90% reduction. These are violations that have the possibility to be detrimental to the neighboring properties. Renovation that goes uninspected have an impact on everyone, not just the property, just the actual property. The applicant is who caused the violation.
What kind of interior alterations were done?
According to the inspector, looks like it. Oh, maybe it's on the case, because it just stated, give me a second here. It just stated interior alterations have been completed without permits or inspections. That would be the building
Okay,
department.
let's get counsel for.
Good morning, Magistrate Dylan Brandenburg and Associates, PA, here today on behalf of 123 Datura and Bradley's Properties, LLC. I actually have one of the partners of 123 Datura with me today, Mr. Damian Barr. Maybe he could comment briefly on the alterations that were being made.
And sir, were you sworn in when I did the group swearing in? Okay, go ahead and tell me your name and address, and then you can go ahead.
Sure. Damian Barr, 3215 Vincent Road, West Palm Beach, Florida, 33405. Yeah, so we actually took the space over from B Organics. It was a cafe when we took the space over. So there were already bathrooms, food prep area in the back, and a cafe bar there. We did pull some permits. We pulled 2 electrical permits and a facade permit, and we did an interior retrofit of the space. And we opened for business. As soon as the building department actually let us know that there was some work in there that should have been permitted that wasn't, we immediately started working with the city. Immediately.
All right, so you did pull, you said an electrical permit.
Yeah, we pulled 2 electrical permits and a facade permit, so we changed out the front of the building to impact
Alright.
windows.
So, and I get just from reading the description in the agenda, it was the interior alterations that were not permitted. Can you, what kind of stuff were you?
So there was already bathrooms in there which we updated, and one of the bathrooms was ADA compliant, but it had to be moved, I think, a couple of inches to be compliant. So that had to be re-inspected, and there was also I believe it was a grease trap that needed to be installed behind the bar, like just a above ground grease trap, which was done.
Okay. But, so, you wouldn't be here if it hadn't been permitted and inspected and passed at this point?
Yeah, that's accurate. That's
Okay.
accurate.
All right, thank you very much. Mr. Brandenburg, did you have anything else you wanted to?
Well, I
Say.
didn't want to interrupt. I don't know if Cassandra needs to, or you wanted to describe the violation more, or is it okay for me to?
I think she said she didn't
do
have
my
any-
spiel?
I don't think she had any additional information.
Got it. Magistrate, this is an old violation from back in 2017. I'll keep it brief. What happened was, as you already heard, the owner was doing some renovations on the property. They applied for a bunch of permits, unfortunately neglected to get one. As soon as they were made aware of the missing permit, they went back, got what they needed to. I want to emphasize, that there was only 5 days in between the fine accrual date and the date that they got their permit. So at $500 a day, that would be $2,500. Unfortunately, the way that the violation was written out, or the compliance was required, it wasn't just, hey, you missed a permit, go and get your permit. It was, hey, you missed a permit, go and get your permit, and you have to get the final sign-off on it before this fine will stop. There was a lot more complications involved. There ended up being a unity of title performed on the property, and some additional work, a new project was encapsulated into the same exact permit, which resulted in the permit not being closed out for years and years, which unfortunately has now resulted in a fine of $300,000 plus. So what is reasonable is, hey, you didn't get a permit, we're going to fine you, maybe $2,500. What is not reasonable is, hey, you didn't get a permit. Now, as a result of this mix-up and years going on, you're now out $300,000 plus. So for those reasons, we would ask the magistrate enter an order today, reducing the fine to $2,500, payable within 30 days, so that 123 Datura can close this case out and continue offering the awesome services that it does to the residents of West Palm.
All right, thank you. Anything else from the city on this one?
I just want to say every permit comes with inspections. Every last one has to have a final inspection. That's not something that's new. Just wanted to put that out there.
Understood. Okay. Okay, let's see. So this is the case ending in 511. The lien amount is $344,000. I have listened to testimony from the applicant and heard applicant's counsel's arguments and requests. I've heard from the city. Based on everything that I've heard, I think the appropriate remedy is, I'm going to reduce this. I don't know, I'm stuck on fives today. $5,000 payable within 30 days.
Thank you, Magistrate.
Thank you very much.
And thank you to city staff, as always. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
Case number 11-3417 Australian Court, CE 16070494.
Case CE 1070494 was cited July 22nd, 2016 for clean and sanitary, landscape requirement, garbage can placement, unpaved parking, and outdoor storage. The property was taken to hearing August 17, 2016. The magistrate ordered 30 days or $250 until compliance is achieved. The property was out of compliance for 1,285 days. resulting in a lien amount of $321,250. Special magistrate, the applicant is a violator. The city is seeking 8%. Take into consideration the length of time that the property took to get this property in compliance and the code violations.
What percent did you say?
8.
8?
Yeah.
Okay.
25,700.
Thank you.
Hey, hold on. I might have gave it, I think I gave you the wrong one.
Oh, yeah. All right, I'll just hang on to that till that one comes up. $34.17. There we go. Yes, sir. Go ahead and tell me your name and address, and then you can tell me about the request.
Okay, my name is Stan Switzer. I'm a Florida State mediator. I get called in whenever there's a problem with large amounts of money for liens. My address is 1637 Northeast 4th Court, Fort Lauderdale. I have this to present to you if I can.
Yeah, why don't you show that
Give it
to Ms. St.
You
Hilaire?
showed it to me earlier. This is what you spent, right? This is the item you showed me earlier.
Yeah. So
You want to review it, Arlene? Yeah. Sorry.
I'm a little hard of hearing, so every once in a while I might say, what?
What's that?
Excuse me. This house has what we're giving you right now. We've spent about $8,000 so far just on sod and landscaping and complying the property over the last 4 or 5 years. And you can see by the dates on the invoices that we've been working on this for years. I have no idea why we didn't get it inspected after each one of those invoices, because we certainly spent a lot of money. I have pictures of about 7 layers of sod that we put into that place. So
Let me stop you just real quick for housekeeping. Without objection, the applicant's Exhibit 1 for this hearing, which is 8 pages of invoices.
It totals about 8,000.
Yeah,
something.
this is it's all landscaping related work, so that is part of the record for this hearing.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Okay. There's been 3 complaints. Trash cans that are visible, and the reason for that is the house is on a corner. Wherever you put the trash cans, in the front yard, backyard, side yard, it can be seen from the street. So I can understand that they're visible, but there's nowhere else. If you can see from the property that it's a pretty empty property, so whatever is on there is going to be seen by people driving by. Another one was auto parts. That hasn't been true for about 3 years. There was an auto there that wasn't licensed. We had that removed right away. The other one is outdoor storage. Again, those were the people that lived there would just put whatever they wanted outside, and then would have to go over constantly and tell them to put it back inside. And landscaping. Again, we spent a lot of money just trying to take care of the landscaping problem. The people that have lived there, for whatever reason, the owner never wanted to evict them because they didn't take care of all this stuff all the time. So until 3 months ago, they lived there. Now that they're gone, it's a big help to us and to the community. No. And we've recently, those pictures on 3 days ago, 4 days ago, I guess they went and did another final cleanup of even, if you see the pictures, it's a lot cleaner. All the shrubbery's been cut back. That looks much neater. I have pictures of it if you want to see them. And we put in sod, we put in plants, but you can't see it again because it was done, I think, this weekend. And that's about it. We're looking at a reduction of the lien, and we've already spent quite a bit of money trying to answer, especially the landscaping part. Whenever we can. The hard part is, and I know you've heard this before, the tenants live there. They don't want to spend the money. They're not going to stand in the yard and water with a hose. And that's the landscape problem. But now that those people are gone, we're looking to put in a filtration system. And if we have to give the people $30 on their rent so they can pay for water.
Okay. So I'm looking through these invoices, you know, it seems like all the way back in 2017, there's an invoice for $1,800 for laying new sod and mulch and doing irrigation. I guess my question is, was it just that, was an inspection for code compliance never called in, or what?
That's what I can't figure out. The office has been closed for a couple of years, so we can get computer records like those, but we can't get whatever notices were sent. So I don't honestly know. I would think after we spent all that money, they would have called the inspector.
So let me ask the city, does your record show, because this is an old case from 2016, were there inspections called in and it failed, or
I believe on the application that they submitted, they stated that there were so many changes in management that it slipped the crack. I think that it stated that 2 people were actually fired or something of that sort, and they didn't send the information to the next person, and then one person was based in a different state, and so then they weren't communicating, and I guess when they finally got to Mr. Stan here, he was able to finally get the property in compliance.
And Cassandra does, we've got a couple other properties in the city. Whenever we're alerted to it, we take care of it. What I've done is I've come up with a system where we put like a yellow sticker on all the ones where there might be a lead or there might be a question about it, so that they can't miss it in the file, the physical file, which is what's happened sometimes too. So we're just trying to do a little bit better. We believe in the city and keeping it looking good.
Okay. Anything else from the city?
That is all.
Anything else, sir, that you'd like to tell me?
I'm sorry?
Anything else that you'd like to tell me?
No, that's fine. Thank you.
All right. This is a case ending in 494. The lien amount is $321,250. Again, I have heard the city's position. I've heard the respondent's position. Based on everything I've heard, I'm going to reduce this to $4,500 payable within 30 days. Can you do that?
Yeah, we can do that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Sir, here's a copy of your order.
Yes, sir. Have a good day.
Next case is number 8 through 10 for 1030 21st Street, CE 09090492, CE 09020372, and CE 20110165.
I'm sorry, which ones are those again?
Numbers 8 through 10.
You're welcome. KCE 09090492 was cited September 14, 2009. The property was cited for trash and debris, overgrowth, and as a repeat violation. On November 4, 2009, an immediate fine was levied against the property for the repeat violation. Property was out of compliance for 42 days and resulted in a lien amount of $3,150. KCE 09020372 was cited February 12, 2009 for failure to have approved ground covering. On May 6, 2009, the property was ordered 60 days or $100 a day to gain compliance. The property was out of compliance for 4,518 days, resulting in a lien amount of $451,800. Case CE 2011065 was cited June 29, 2020 for failure to register as a vacant property and the signage requirements. On February 3, 2021, the special magistrate ordered 10 days or $25 until compliance is achieved. The property was out of compliance for 389 days, resulting in a lien amount of $9,725. At this time, the city is seeking 5% of the total lien amount. Special magistrate, this is a new owner who acquired the property through back taxes owed from the previous owners through the Palm Beach County Clerk of Courts. On the application, Mr. Kesov, if I'm saying it correctly, I apologize, stated that these liens should be reduced to $100 because he was not the cause of the liens, nor was he aware of them. Special magistrate, although we sympathize with Mr. Kesov, the fact remains that as a buyer, it is his responsibility to ensure that the property was free and clear of any financial constraints. We don't want to set a precedence that anyone could just go to the clerks of courts and purchase a property and get a property reduced to less than $100 for liens that were previously acquired.
Thank you. This is vacant lot?
Huh?
This is a vacant lot?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. All right, sir, go ahead and tell me your name and address, and then you can tell me about the request.
Your Honor, my name is Valery Kesov. I live in California, in Sacramento. And I have here a representative from the local nonprofit that wants to acquire the property from me to build on it for affordable housing. Shall I continue?
Please.
Yeah, so I bought this property from the clerk of the court last year in July 2021.
Okay.
And I did not know that there were issues with the property. I did not know there were 3 open cases on the property. And I never received any kind of paperwork, any kind of notices, any kind of certified mails from the city of West Palm Beach. I mean, the only letter I got last year about landscaping issues, and I had a plan, and I was taking care of the landscaping. So I was always moving the lawn on the property, and so I own it until since July of last year, and since I found out about this problem, I fixed that, and I've been taking care of the lawn every month. And right now I have a buyer, local nonprofit. It's called Neighborhood Renaissance, and they would like to acquire the property from me to build on it for the low-income housing, and I want to sell it to them just to get my money back because. I didn't know there was so much issues with this property, and one of those liens was because I failed to register the property on the website prochumps.com, And I did not know about this, that I had to pay $250 to register my land, vacant land on that website. And I never received any kind of letters from the city of West Palm Beach about this. So as soon as I found out about this, I think it was, in March, I registered my property there, and I paid off all hard liens, all of the interest of the West Palm Beach city for the lot clearing fees and all the interest. And I have receipts here I'd like to show you. So I paid all those City of West Palm Beach interest, and I registered my lot on, according to the requirements. I didn't know about this since July, but as soon as I found out about it, I did that. And I'm just asking for your forgiveness to forgive the whole amount that is left there, because I think there's another bill of $2,000 for taxes, and there is about $1,500 that is due to the City of West Palm Beach for some kind of liens.
All right, just let me take a look at this. Is there any objection to the city?
No.
All right, now, so this is an 8-page stapled document with the lien information on the property, and then a separate 1-page document showing the property registration. Without objection, these will be made part of the record for today's hearing. Did you say your intention is to develop, or tell me again what your intention is with the...
Yes, since I live in California, I would like to sell the property to the local nonprofit. It's called Neighborhood Renaissance, and one of the workers from the city of West Palm Beach, they said they're going to be coming here to support me. Is she coming? Yeah, go ahead.
Good afternoon. My name is Ontario Johnson. I am the community organizer with a local nonprofit, Neighborhood Renaissance. We're a local nonprofit real estate developer, and we have a long track record of working with the city in creating and building affordable housing right here in the city of West Palm Beach. So that is the purpose of this purchase with Mr. Kosa, is to actually build a brand new 3-bedroom, 2-bath affordable home here in the city of West Palm Beach. We were expecting to have the housing director, Jennifer Farrell, to come in support of this, because we're working with the city of West Palm Beach to do that. So we are asking that the city does actually recognize the fact that Mr. Kosov is actually working with us to help build more affordable housing here in the city of West Palm Beach. We've been working together in this whole process to get to this point.
What's your, once we get past today's issue, what's your hopeful timeframe to close and then get the project underway?
We're looking to, actually, on this property, we will be looking to break ground in about another 3 to 4 months. And it'll normally take about 6 months to actually to build. So we're looking about the end of the year.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Is there anything else from the city on this case?
Yeah, I just want to make a note that the items that were given to you, the documents, those are items that all applicants, they have to pay for in order to move forward in the lien reduction process. These are
In order
debts-
to even get here, right?
Yeah, these are debts that are already owed to the city from our contractors actually maintaining that lot as well. So those aren't costs that he personally incurred.
No, I understand.
Okay.
Yeah.
And also, like I stated, we do, of course, that the city wants redevelopment. That is what we want in the neighborhood, but we also have to not set a precedent that anyone can just go to the clerk's report, pay back taxes and not do the work, and just come to the magistrate and ask for it to be a lien to be pled down to almost nothing. These are things that, as any owner, I feel like you have the responsibility to ensure that some of these liens, they get taken care of before you put yourself in this position.
Okay. All right, so gentlemen, anything else you'd like to tell me before I make a decision on this case?
So these liens were like from construction company, master contractors, back from 2009, and I just didn't know they were existing on this property. And I didn't know some of them were open at the time when I was, having the property. So as soon as I found out about it, I did my best to fix the issues, and I'm asking for your forgiveness for the whole amount here.
Okay. All right, thank you very much. So we have three cases. A 2009 case ending in 492 with a lien amount of $3,150. A 2009 case ending in 372 with a lien amount of $451,800. And then the 2020 case ending in 165 with the lien amount of $9,725. I'm going to, let's see, on the case ending in 492 with the $3,150, I'm going to reduce that to $500. With the 2009 case ending in 372 with the $451,800 lien, I'm going to reduce that to $1,000. And with the 2020 case and with the $9,725 lien, I'm going to reduce that to $500. So it's $500, $1,000, and $500. The total is $2,000, payable within 30 days. Can you do that in 30 days? Okay.
Thank you so much.
Here's a copy of the order. Sir?
And lastly, number 15, 614 Palm Street, CE 150900410.
Case CE 150900410 was cited September 15, 2015. Property was cited for failure to obtain rental license, certificate of use, and landscape maintenance. On October 7, 2015, the magistrate ordered the property 30 days or $150 a day to comply with code sections 18162 and 2232A. The property was out of compliance for 229 days, resulting in a lien amount of $34,350. The applicant is the current owner and the cause of the violation. The city is seeking 25%.
How much? 25, thank you. Thank you. Yes, sir. Go ahead and tell me your name and address, and then you can tell me about the request for the lien
Good
reduction.
afternoon. Bob Torricelli. I am the owner of Woodrose Properties, which owns 614 Palm Street. By way of background, Woodrose Properties buys distressed buildings that are otherwise structurally sound, converts them to market rate housing, and puts them back on the market. We own them in New Jersey and in Florida. This is our only one, which is significant, in West Palm. As part of our model, as you can see from the property, if you go back to it, one of the things we like to do to reduce the cost of maintenance and for the tenants, and because it's more attractive, is we remove the grass if it is a small area and put in native plants. It saves water, it's good environmental policy, and it is appreciated by the tenants. It's actually encouraged in Lake Worth. What we did not know is that it was not encouraged in West Palm. Apparently, we bought the property in May of 15. Apparently, in September of 15, a violation notice was sent to us by certified mail to my residence. The signature on it is not anyone in my employment, not anyone who works for the building, and is not decipherable. We have no idea who signed for it. We were unaware of any violation until we did a title search for a refinance in May of 16, and we discovered it. The city wanted more dense planning, and we did so, and a business license, which we had neglected to get for the city. All of this was accomplished within 7 days. I should note, none of this saved the company money. What we did was much more expensive than maintaining the grass. Our problem as a company became in July of 16, several months later, in getting the business license. The business license was conditioned on that all violations were corrected. My office wrongfully assumed that because it said all violations were corrected, that meant that the lien had been satisfied and the matter was resolved. It obviously was not, and has remained open all these days, these years, running up these files. In fact, we corrected everything within 7 days. I should note, too, in the years since, the city also had issues with a broken fence and other overgrowth, both of which we complied with immediately. Even though we don't really believe we own the fence, we believe it belongs to a church, we replaced it anyway. So there is no history here of violations. There were 2 errors. We don't know what happened to the certified letter. There was no posting on the property, at least none that we've ever seen. And then we made the mistake of assuming it was solved because of the license that all corrections had been satisfied. We would ask, therefore, given that it's a 4-unit building and the burden this would put on the tenants and on the company, the original lien was $500, whatever that might be, and whatever costs are involved for the court, we'd be happy to pay, but believe that would be fair.
That's a 4-unit building?
4-unit.
Yeah, okay.
And I have to say so myself, really lovely.
No, these pictures look really nice. It looked like a single family, but.
No, it's 4, and having been in public policy all my life, I really believe this is exactly what should be encouraged, wasting water. And as you can see from other people who testified here today, maintaining, particularly in the summer, all that grass, not only wasting water, but the cost, and you rarely, during the summer, have it maintained green. This is a much better answer, which, as they say in Lake Worth, they encourage you to do.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. Anything else from the city?
Yeah, I want to note that the fines were not running due to the landscape. Actually, on September 30th of 2015, Code Officer Houghton at the time spoke to Kate Farley, the office manager, where there were stones that were put there for landscape, and that was removed, so that was complied. The issue was the rental license and COU, certificate of use, that was never issued. The property was never properly inspected to make sure that it met the minimum housing standards to be rented out. Those are what the fines were running for. Everything else that happened as far as like fence repair has no bearings on this case.
Well, the fence repair I'm doing just to give the court the business practice and the history of our compliance, that this is not a company that has ever had a violation or a history. Every time we've received notices, things were repaired, even if we didn't believe we bore responsibility. I have that we got a license in July of 16 and have been operating with a license since.
Yeah, you guys did, the compliance date was June 23rd of 2016. So in 2016, you did come into compliance. We're not arguing that fact. What we're stating is that the inspections that are required, but that was never done. But as far as arguing whether or not service was ever done, or you guys got notification, we have it stated here that the code officer did speak to the office manager. The property was cited on September 15th. She spoke with the office manager on September 30th.
About the license. About the license.
About the violations, which
Yeah.
included the rental licenses, certificate of use, and the landscape maintenance. And the landscape maintenance violation was complied by that hearing date. The only thing that remained
I'm
was.
not actually arguing any of that. I'm just suggesting to you that we wrongly assumed that because we got a license and the condition of the license that all violations were corrected, I'm admitting it was improper. We made the assumption that that solved the matter. It did not.
Okay.
Okay. All right, thank you, sir. Thank you. Anything else from Anybody? All right.
Not for me.
Okay, so this is a case ending in 410. It's a 2015 case, another old case. The amount of the lien is $34,350. Based on the testimony that I have heard and the evidence I've reviewed in this matter, I'm going to reduce this lien to $750 payable within 30 days.
Thank you, Magistrate.
Thank
Sir.
you. And just for the record, numbers 12 and 13 for 915 Fifth Street are rescheduled.
Rescheduled. And I think that concludes the 11:30 agenda. Is there anything else we need to take care of this morning or this afternoon before we call it a day? All right, it is 12:50 by the eye clock, and we stand adjourned.